A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, the Goldbergs. Well, there's always one turn that things take before Molly takes a hand, and that's a turn for the worse. At this very moment, the lives of the friends whom Molly most wants to help are tangled in a Gordian knot, and no one seems to have the courage to cut it. First, Orianne was unable to tell Edward Way that he was mistaken in believing that she wanted to marry him. And when Orianne didn't say anything, why, Mr. Way gave the knot a further twist by announcing the coming marriage to his former wife. This seems to leave young Chris Cater out in the cold. Now, Molly has an inspiration, but her home seems to be the wrong place to talk about it. But...
Say, Rosie, what was the lesson? Say, if you love me, listen to me.
I love you, but I'm not going to listen to you.
What is it, Ma?
Tell me, Ma.
Only with Papa's permission will I do it.
My permission you can't have if it means involving yourself.
Involving myself. How can you do something that's worthwhile doing if you don't involve yourself? When George Washington crossed the Delaware to get on the other side, he had to involve himself. When Christopher Columbus discovered the world was round and not square, he had to involve himself with Queen Isabella.
Oh, my. What do you have to do that's so hysterical?
Each life, Jake, has its own history. And just as important as the history of nations is each person.
Get to the point. What is it, Ma?
About Orianne? You're listening, Jake.
I can't cut my ear off. I'm not Van Gogh.
What are you laughing? What was it laughing? Who's Van Gogh?
An artist, Ma. He wanted to prove his love.
Well, what a thing to do, to cut off your ears for love.
Just one ear.
I'm not asking you to cut off your ears, baby. I'm just asking you to lend me your ears.
Very well. So like Julius Caesar, you can have my ear.
Mark Anthony, Pa. Mark Anthony.
If you're laughing, forget my coat.
Where are you going?
I'm going over to Dr. Cater.
For his advice?
No, to give him mine advice.
You're angry?
Mine coat, Rosalie. Mine coat, please. Don't stand. I said mine coat, Rosalie, please. Every time it comes for me to utter a voice, for me to utter a syllable...
Nobody listens.
Yes. No, nobody listens. Ma. Get my coat, I said. Don't ma me. Get me my coat. If I say something, I'm wrong, I'm not right. If I wish to do, I can't. If I want to assist, I'll mix it. So, yes. So if mine ideas are non-consequential, and if in mine family I can do that which mine conscience decides, then I have to seek elsewhere. That's all. But to sit, and for me to twiddle mine fingers, and for me to twiddle mine thumbs, and let go the things that are transgressing under mine roof.
And my roof?
Our roof. Then
what?
I love Orianne.
You too. Dr. Cater loves her. Mr. Ray loves her.
Yes, I love her very much. I love her exceedingly. I love her very much. And if my plan can help her, and if I can...
What is your plan, Ma?
All right. My pocketbook, Rosalie, please. Mr. Ray is also on my mind, don't think not. He also can be just...
Why should you neglect anybody but your husband, Molly?
All right.
Mrs. Ray is also more to be pitied than censored. No?
All right. Without the laughing, Jake. Without the laughing, I think so also. Without the laughing.
And your plan includes everybody?
Everybody.
Marvelous. The Napoleon of the kitchen. The miracle woman of Westonbirt.
All right. Call Dr. Cade and tell him on my way over.
To you.
Goodbye.
Do you need any assistance?
And while Jake laughs, Molly hurries over to Dr. Cater's house. Well, then, Jake telephones Dr. Cater Sr. and very solemnly says his wife is on her way with a plan. The truth is that a plan is just what young Christopher Cater would like very much to have.
Now, Dad, I know what I'm talking about.
Chris.
The plain, unvarnished truth is that Orianne is going to marry Mr. Way because she's sick with pity for the scoundrel.
No, Chris, he was a scoundrel.
If Orianne marries him, he's a bigger scoundrel than ever.
What makes you think she will?
I've been telling you. It's what the former Mrs. Way told me.
Well, you know, she wouldn't tell the truth unless it suited her.
It sounds like the truth. And it sounds like what I've been afraid would happen. I can't think of anything more stupid. Imagine marrying that man, that reformed chief, that old money grubber who didn't succeed because she's sorry for it. Why can't you be sorry for me?
I'll be sorry for you, Chris, if that's what you want.
What I want is a little sympathy and a little help.
Well, you can have my sympathy. And here's Mrs. Goldberg with help.
No, thanks. No, you take it. She's sorry for Way also. Everybody's sorry for Way and no one's sorry for me. Excuse me, I'm going upstairs and read Freud. Maybe there's something wrong with my subconscious.
Just a minute.
How do you do that?
Oh, come in. Come in, Mrs. Goldberg.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Goldberg called evidently.
Yes. Come and sit down.
Thank you very much.
Have your coat off?
Thank you.
Here, let me help you.
That's all right. I'll just slip my coat off.
All right. Yeah, how's that?
Very well.
Mr. Goldberg called. He said you had quite a plan.
Yes, Doctor. I don't know if it's quite. Dr. Cader. So I put my pocketbook here. Thank you.
Oh, that's all right.
Dr. Cader, you see, I came to you because you're a man of many broils. I mean, being a doctor, you see so much more than, how shall I say it, than the ordinary people. But nevertheless, I'll tell you my plan, Doctor, and then you'll tell me. And if you think I'm treading where angels fear to tread, tell me and then...
Now, the world needs people with the courage to mind someone else's business. That's human business, right or wrong.
Well, I'm not an angel, Dr. Cade. I'm just... I mean, when things around me are not smooth, it disturbs my equilibrium,
Of
Doctor.
course.
My own life gets so tangled up.
I know.
Believe me, Dr. Cade, I didn't have the patience to bake a cake this week. My mind is so, to the point. You see, Dr. Orion Leland is a woman that, I don't know how to say it, she's so extremely... sensitive. She can't hurt, and she wouldn't hurt Mr. Ray.
No.
And I'm afraid, Dr. Cade, if it continues, then a catastrophe can happen.
Yes. Yes, that's true.
She will and she might marry Mr. Ray. And with all due respect for Mr. Ray, I mean, my sympathy notwithstanding, he's not for her and she's not for him. Dr. Cade, she loves your son, I'm sure.
And I'm sure he loves her also.
You see that, Doctor? You see that for the catastrophe that would be? So, and this is what I mean, Doctor. Mrs. Ray, as far as evidently evident, is still in love with her husband. I mean, in maybe some twisted, foolish way, which she shows by trying to harm him. If she allowed him to go to prison and she didn't help with her money when she could have helped him, it was because she wanted to hurt him for some reason or another. You following me, Dr. Cade?
Yes, go on.
So follow me now. Follow me syllable by syllable. I think that she would do anything to hurt him further.
What do you mean?
I mean, Dr. Cade, that she would do anything to prevent him from being happy.
Yes.
If she thinks his happiness will come from marrying Oriane, she will do anything to prevent him from marrying her.
But that's natural.
Listen to me slowly, Dr. Cade. Listen to me slowly.
I'm listening.
Mrs. Ray is still a very rich woman.
Yes, so I understand.
So, my plan is, if she would pay back all the money that he took from those people, for which he went to prison, maybe Mr. Ray would consent to give Oriane up.
Oh.
See?
I see.
Do you, Dr. Cade?
Well, I think so.
Am I treading?
Undoubtedly. But if we tread together, Mrs. Goldberg, perhaps the angels won't fear to follow.
Wonderful.
Just how Molly and old Dr. Cater can manage this new arrangement of lives we can't imagine. If the ways detest each other, well, that seems an insuperable obstacle. And if Mrs. Way's love for her former husband takes the form of hurting him, well, only a psychologist could help. But not a psychologist with a stake in the cure like Dr. Cater has.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, Monitor takes you everywhere and brings you everything interesting, from news and on-the-spot interviews to offbeat features around the world. And Monitor also brings you the finest drama with original stories and Hollywood's top stars each week on Monitor World Theater. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight's story, Mr. Costello Hero, by Theodore Sturgeon.
It began the day the skipper called me into his cabin. I'd been a purser aboard the spaceship Star Climber for almost 12 years, and I'd never yet been asked to Iron Man's cabin. But then a lot of strange things had been happening on this trip to Borengwen.
Come in. Oh. Sit down, Purser. I said sit down.
Yes, sir.
All right. Here's a deck of cards. Deal.
Sir?
I said deal. 5-card draw. Go on, man.
Yes, sir.
Well?
3 of a kind, sir.
You didn't draw.
I beg your pardon?
When you play draw poker, you're supposed to draw. If you don't draw, you're supposed to give your opponent a chance to draw. Now, mister, did you ask me to draw?
Well, we haven't been playing that way recently.
Who changed the rules?
I don't know.
Uh-huh. Let me ask you something else. You stood a watch last night in the ship's galley.
Why, yes, sir.
Has anybody ordered a galley watch?
Well, no, sir, but it isn't against the rules, is it?
Against the rules? No, it isn't. Now, tell me, does the cook mind having a man watching him 24 hours a day?
Well, no, sir. You see, that way he knows everybody can trust him.
You mean that way you know he won't poison you?
Well, yes, sir.
Now, tell me, Purser, who aboard this ship suggested that the cook might try to poison you?
Well, I really couldn't say, sir. It just came up. Well, Cookie doesn't mind, sir. Really, he doesn't. He says if he's watched all the time, then nobody can suspect him, so he doesn't mind.
All right. Now, let's proceed to something else. How long has it been customary for the deck officer to bring a witness with him when he takes over the watch?
That's out of my department,
Now,
sir.
think hard, Purser. Did you ever hear of a deck officer bringing a witness with him before this trip?
No, sir.
Or stand a galley watch?
No, sir.
Or play draw poker without drawing?
No, sir.
Now, one more thing.
Yes, sir?
We never had Mr. Costello as a passenger on this ship before, did we?
Mr. Costello?
Mr. Costello.
No, sir, we didn't.
Okay. Ask him to come to my cabin.
But
That's an order, mister.
Yes, sir. Let me tell you about Mr. Costello. He was our only passenger. Hello, Mr. Costello.
Hello, Purser.
Oh, am I interrupting something?
Not at all. Come sit down. I'm landing on Borengwen tomorrow, so I won't have much more chance to talk.
Well, I'll finish this later, Mr. Costello.
Nonsense. Honest men should be open with each other. Go ahead. Show him what you discovered.
Well...
The purser's a fine man.
Well, Mr. Costello asked me to show him in the space code what a captain can and cannot do.
Now, just a minute, Third. You wanted to show me, didn't you?
Well, yes.
So actually you're going over the limitations of a space captain's power of your own free will, right?
Well, I guess so, sure.
Sure. Tell the purser the part that you just read me.
Well, it's a sort of safeguard against letting the skipper's power go to his head. Like, suppose a time comes when the captain begins to act up, you see. The crew figures a lunatic has taken over the bridge. Well, the crew can send a delegate for an accounting. If the skipper refuses, then the crew can confine the skipper.
Well, isn't there something about the proceedings having to be radioed at the time they happen?
Now, there is a man who is absolutely fair. Witnesses for the watch, safeguards on the kitchen. I tell you, you're all good men here. Yes, sir, this is the safest ship I've ever seen. Gives a fellow a nice feeling to know he isn't going to get his orders wrong or accidentally find something in the food.
Yes, sir. I wonder why we never thought of that before. Oh, I nearly forgot. Mr. Costello, the skipper wants to see you in his cabin.
Oh?
Right away.
I see. Will you come along with me just as a friendly precaution? You can wait outside. Well, in that way, both of us will know what happened. I'll never be able to say that you didn't give me the message, and you'll be able to say I went to see the skipper. Huh?
Well, I guess so. You know, that this buddy system sort of makes everything safer, doesn't it?
That's right, Purser. You can't do anything bad if you have a friend along to witness.
Mr. Costello and I went to the captain's cabin, and I waited outside. After a while, I could hear them shouting. That is, I could hear the captain shouting. Mr. Costello never raised his voice.
And let me tell you, Mr. Costello, that if my crew questions my sanity, they have legal recourse. But you can be sure that meanwhile, if a single man aboard questions my authority, he will learn that I am master of the ship, even if he must learn it at the point of a gun. Now, sir, get out.
Wow. You okay, Mr. Costello?
Yes, I'm fine. Did you hear anything?
Well, yes, I did.
Would you remember what you heard?
I think so.
Let's see. You see this little gadget, no bigger than a pocket watch?
Yes, sir. What is it?
Listen, I'll open it.
If a single man aboard questions my authority, he will learn that I am master of the ship, even if he must learn it at the point of a gun.
Whose voice is that?
Why, it's the captain.
Good man.
But how?
It's simple. You see, this little pin that I wear on my lapel here? This is a microphone. This watch is a magnetic recorder. I just use it as a toy, of course.
Well, I'll be darned.
You see, Purser, I'm a collector. What do I collect? Voices. Voices anywhere, anybody, anytime. Listen.
A lunatic has taken over the bridge.
Why, that's the third officer.
Mm-hmm. Listen to this now.
I better not, Mr. Costello. I wouldn't want you thinking I take bribes from passengers.
Recognize it?
Why, that's my voice.
Exactly. The time you brought me the special radio message from Earth Central.
And you offered me a blue gemstone, and I said that...
Hey, listen to this.
I take bribes from passengers.
Well, if that isn't the end...
Cute, huh? Well, I guess I'll get back to my cabin and pack. When do we arrive at Goodwin?
6 tomorrow morning.
Oh, good. By the way, I'd like you to come see me when you put in there again.
Well, that's very nice, sir, but you're an important man, and I'm just
Nonsense. I insist that you visit me.
Well, that's real nice.
Oh, by the way, what's the major trade on Goodwin?
Glunker.
Glunker?
Yes, it's a kind of soft fur. You can make a warm coat out of it that will roll up into a thimble.
You don't say. And the Glunker trade, that's carried out by trappers?
Mostly.
Mm-hmm.
They work alone and bring in the pelts.
I see. They spend a lot of time alone,
That's right. You know, sometimes I envy them. I mean, working on a ship, you're almost never alone, and the way I see it, a man needs to be alone sometimes.
Correction. Only, I repeat, only if he has something to hide. Otherwise, to be alone is antisocial and evil.
We put in at Goodwin the following morning. I stood at the ramp of the ship and checked out the supplies and checked in the Glunker pelts that we were taking back to Earth. The Goodwin people were a nice, independent, easygoing bunch. I knew a Goodwin woman named Nola, and she came out to the ship to see me. 15,000 Glunker pelts. Check. 300 pounds of radioactive ergite. Check. Just put that shipment of show seed over next to the ramp.
Hello.
What? Well, Nola.
I saw your ship on the cargo manifest.
Well, it's good to see you.
Will you be on board when long?
Just for a day or so. Listen, I have to get this cargo checked in. Can we see each other later?
I'll be through at the spaceport at 16 hours.
Oh, good. Suppose I... Oh, excuse me a minute. Here comes our passenger.
Well, good morning. I see we've arrived safely.
Yes, sir. I expected you out before this.
I had a few items to get in order.
Oh, Mr. Costello, this is Nola. She's a Boringuena.
Well, it's very nice to meet you.
This is a real nice guy, Nola. See that he doesn't have any trouble with customs, will you? Nola works here.
Any friend of the purser?
Wonderful. Well, I'll say goodbye now. Remember to look me up, purser, next time you hit Boringuen.
I will. He gave me that big, warm handshake of his and clapped his arm on my shoulder. Gave you a good feeling to know that a big shot like Mr. Costello really liked you. I got the rest of the cargo checked in. Took maybe 3 hours. Then I was about to go in and ask the skipper for leave when a couple of guys with Space Bureau credentials came aboard.
All right, that's it, boys. Close the hatches.
Excuse me.
Yes?
Space Bureau. Is Captain Ireson aboard?
Why, yes.
You're the purser, huh?
That's right. Something wrong?
Would you mind answering a couple of questions?
Not at all.
Has the captain been behaving strangely this trip?
Well, not strangely, exactly.
Anything unusual?
Well, no. He called me in for a card game.
Mm-hmm. Does that happen often?
No, never happened before.
Was he upset?
Yes, I guess he was.
Okay. This gentleman would like you to answer a few simple questions. Meanwhile, I'll look up the skipper.
They took the skipper off the ship and left Boringuen the next morning with a new skipper assigned by the port captain. There was a rumor later that old Iron Man had been court-martialed or something. Nobody knew for certain. We made the rounds after that. Sigma, Nightingale, Carano, all the planets in the fourth system. We even went back to Earth with a load of blizzard skins and black prints. It must have been about, 16 months later that we made for Boringuen again. I was talking to the third officer.
Purser. I'd like to talk to you.
Go ahead.
We land at Boringuen tomorrow.
So?
I don't like it.
What's wrong with Boringuen? It's one of the best ports in the system.
It was.
What do you mean?
We got a radiogram from the Boringuen Customs a little while ago.
Okay, we got a radiogram. Some bureaucrat sent it. Nothing will happen.
Another thing. The way it was signed.
How was it signed?
Loneliness is evil. Port Captain Boringuen.
Loneliness is evil?
That's what it said.
On a government radiogram?
Mm-hmm.
Loneliness is evil. Where did I hear that before? Well, we touched down on Boringuen at 1200 hours. What a change. The spaceport was deserted. The only people who came aboard were 2 agents from Customs. They censored our tapes and checked our written literature. I finally started a conversation with them. Excuse me, sir?
Yeah?
There is a Boringuena named Nola that used to work in Customs. I wonder if she's still there.
I wouldn't know.
Well, the reason I asked, she usually meets my ship when it comes in.
Yeah, I see.
Well, maybe I'll look her up. She has an apartment on R Street.
She won't be living there. Try Central Barracks.
Central Barracks?
That big warehouse near the spaceport.
I thought they stored the Glunker furs there.
They don't use the warehouses to store things anymore.
No?
They need them for the people.
The people?
You haven't been on Boringuen since the Brotherhood movement?
I haven't been here for 16 months.
Well, you'll find that the people have moved into the warehouses now.
Well, what about the apartments? What about the homes?
They're used only for storage space.
I don't get it.
Look, we haven't got time to explain now. My partner and I have to get back to Central Control.
Well, maybe I'll go to try and find Nola.
Better take a companion.
What for?
They don't like soloists on Boringuen.
Since when?
Since Brotherhood. No ladder has a single rung, you know.
So what?
It takes 100 pair of hands to build a house.
Okay.
A single pair is useless. Not only useless, but evil.
I don't get your drift.
All humanity is made up of many parts. Any part that wants to go off by itself hurts the main thing. What good would your hand be if a single finger suddenly decided to go off by itself?
Listen, is this a gag?
It's deadly serious.
Well, suppose I want to go off by myself.
We'll help you.
And suppose I don't want to be helped.
Then you're a trapper, a glunker. You'll be sent into the bush country where the other soloists are sent.
Holy smokes, this place has gone mad.
Are you coming with us?
Look, just suppose that I want to walk across the field to the warehouse by myself, all alone.
You can try. But you won't get 2 steps before they pick you up. Take our advice. Get a companion.
I let them take me over to the barracks. The place that used to be a warehouse. It was unbelievable. The place had been completely cleared of every wall, every partition. There, in front of my eyes, were 10,000 beds, cots, and mattresses spread out over the entire floor of the warehouse. The light was blinding. Huge floods and spots bathed every square inch. Nothing was concealed. Even the plumbing, showers, tubs, sinks were lined up against an open wall. The agents came in with me and stood at the door. A cluster of Borngwen people waited in a roped-off area.
This is it.
Wow.
The customs personnel are in that third aisle, going north.
I'll walk down there. Thanks for the company.
It's a duty. Wait. I'll get you a companion. Anyone for the third aisle going north? Third aisle going north. Yeah. There comes a man. He'll accompany you.
A small, frightened-looking man detached himself from the waiting group and went with me up the aisle of the warehouse. The sound, the smells were frightening. Thousands of people milling around. No privacy. Everyone terrified of being alone. I wondered how this had happened. Finally, after an hour of searching, I found my friend Nola.
So that's the way it is on Borngwen now. Nobody seems to know just how it happened. Just seemed better to be with somebody all the time. Then nobody could accuse you of doing anything wrong.
But somebody must have started these accusations. Somebody must have put the fear into people.
I don't know. It started with the glunkers.
The fur trappers?
That's right. We began to hear things about them. That they were thieves, that they planned to take over the city. Just rumors, of course. And pretty soon, if you didn't like somebody, you called him a glunker. Then there were signs. No glunkers allowed. You know?
Oh, I saw some.
We began to hear about it on the televisor, and pretty soon they appointed a committee to investigate and find out if there was any truth to the rumors about the glunkers. It was headed by Mr. Costello.
Costello? Mr. Costello?
He's a big shot now. Owns half the city, I guess.
Well, it can't be the same one.
Yes, it is. I've seen him.
When did everybody move to the central warehouse?
When the police started picking up soloists, everybody began to move in together. Didn't take long. That's the strange thing. How little time it took.
I talked to Nola for a while, then I couldn't take it any longer. I had to get out, to get away by myself. I found somebody who was going toward the exit, and after a while, we were standing outside the warehouse entrance.
I'm going south.
I'm going north to the spaceport.
Oh.
Tell me, does anybody travel alone?
Sometimes we take a chance on it. I guess I'll have to take a chance right now. I'll be late for my job if somebody doesn't come along soon.
Where do you work?
That orange building right across the street.
Would you like me to walk with you?
Oh, you'll just get stranded there. I'll make a run for it. The street looks clear.
Well, thanks for the company.
Not at all. So long.
Hey, mister, look out, that car. Look out!
Why, you...
Is he dead?
Yes, sir.
That was deliberate. I saw you.
Hello, Purser.
It's Mr. Costello.
Yes, sorry about the accident. My chauffeur was...
He tried to run away.
That's what happens to soloists. If he'd had a companion to warn him, to thrust him out of the way. You understand that, don't you, Purser?
I don't know.
Climb into the car. You can't go wandering about Borrington alone.
Well,
Police will take care of the body. It's all right.
Okay, if you say so, Mr. Costello.
Drive to the spaceport.
Yes, sir.
Well, what do you think of our little planet?
Well,
I knew you'd like it. Just think of it, Purser. All humankind, a single unit. Yes, this is a people that has found the truth. It awes me. Makes me humble. Speak up, man. I'm your friend.
Well, I was going to say, I'm not sure I like it.
Well, take your time. Nobody has to make a man see the truth. Isn't that right?
Well...
That's right, isn't it?
Yes, I guess it is.
Fine. Yes, only the trappers refuse to see the truth.
Are they really dangerous?
Dangerous? They go out and spend weeks alone by themselves, don't they? Alone with their own evil thoughts.
Evil thoughts?
We all have them, you know. Even you. For example, you remember this?
Well,
Well, this should refresh your mind. Listen to this.
I take bribes from passengers.
Your voice, Purser, and a very evil thought, too.
But that isn't what I said.
That's what's on the tape, Purser. Now, then, I wouldn't use it against you, of course.
Mr. Costello, what is it you want from me?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, a minor favor, perhaps.
Go on.
Your ship is going back to Earth after it leaves Borrington.
Yes?
You will have a passenger.
I didn't know that.
To be exact, a mentally deranged man.
Who is he?
His name is Hines. He's been the Earth consul here on Borrington. He's been recalled to Earth to report.
You said he was mentally ill?
He is, but the Earth government doesn't know him.
Well, what can I possibly do?
I wouldn't want Mr. Hines to go back and tell them a lot of lies about what's happened on Borrington.
Well,
Purser, I want you to put this capsule into Mr. Hines's food.
What is it?
Sleeping potion.
You think I'm a murderer, Mr. Costello?
Purser, do you know what will happen if this tape recording of your voice is sent back to Earth? Do you know what they do to pursers who take bribes? You'll be court-martialed.
You'd use it?
Only in the interests of protecting our happy society. Now then, will you see that Mr. Hines is properly sedated? You can get 10 years of Uranus. Well, Purser?
Give me the capsule.
Good. Right over to the ship, driver.
The first day out, the Earth Council, Mr. Hines, was in his cabin, and I brought him his dinner. He was a tense, nervous little man. Here's your dinner, sir.
Put it down, Steward.
Oh, I'm the purser, sir. The steward's ill, and I'm helping out.
I see. Do you know what's happened on Borrington?
I was only there a few hours, Mr. Hines.
Let me tell you, then. You won't believe it. Nobody will believe it. First, it was a little wedge, driven in the one place it might exist between the city people and the trappers, the glunkers. Suddenly, the glunkers were a menace. Then came the changes. You didn't have to prove that a glumper had done anything. You just had to prove he was a glunker. It all happened so fast. Pretty soon you were afraid to be alone for a second. There was a man named Costello. He came from Earth.
I know him.
You know him?
He went to Borrington on this ship.
Then you must be the one.
The one? Which one?
Who testified against your captain for the court-martial.
What?
There was a tape recording, your voice and the voice of the third officer. Costello had them.
He used them to send the skipper to Uranus? I didn't know.
You must have known. What's happened to us? What's happened? What?
I got him into his bunk and gave him a sedative. Then I took away the food I'd fixed for him. I still had Costello's poison capsule in my pocket. I went down to the radio room and sent a message to Earth headquarters. 2 days later, we landed. Mr. Hines told his story and I told mine. I showed them the poison capsule and told them what had happened to the skipper and about the tape recorder. Within 24 hours, a task force of the Earth fleet was on its way to Boranguen. It wasn't much of a battle, they tell me. The Boranguen army didn't have its heart in it. That was, 20 years ago, I guess. About Mr. Costello? I met him again last week, right here on Earth. Funny thing, I was sitting in Central Park on a bench.
Well, if it isn't the purser.
I'm sorry, I don't believe...
Look closer. Don't you recognize me?
No, Why, Mr. Costello.
I thought you thought I was on Uranus? I was. I served 20 years. Mind if I sit down?
It's a free Earth.
You know, I'm glad I ran into you. I think you may be just the man that I need.
Need?
Yes. Let me show you something. Here, in this pouch. Recognize these?
They're just live ants.
Exactly. Let me dump them out on the ground.
Won't they crawl away?
They'll come back. Watch. You see, I put a little piece of this bread in the pouch, and I lay it on the ground. See how they crawl back?
Yes, all except that one. He's interested in that dead caterpillar.
Yes. You see, about 1 in 30, I discovered, will eat something different. Break away from the pack.
So what?
Don't you see, man? If we can find a way to make the others turn on that 1 in 30, if we can make the bread eaters think that the caterpillar eaters are dangerous...
They're not dangerous. They're just different.
What's the difference? Just so we can get the bread eaters scared enough. They'll turn on the others.
And then?
And then we can make them do anything that we want. You see what I'm driving at? If you think of these ants as people... Well, where are you going?
I'm leaving, Mr. Costello.
Why? Doesn't what I say make sense?
Yes, it does, Mr. Costello, except for one thing.
What is that?
I'm no ant. So long, Mr. Costello. You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features The Claustrophile, an unusual story by Theodore Sturgeon, which turns common sense completely around and plumps it down squarely on its feet. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Mr. Costello Hero, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Theodore Sturgeon and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Wendell Holmes, Mandel Kramer, Bob Hastings, Joe DeSantis, Terry Keane, James Stevens, James Dukas, and Raymond Edward Johnson. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Follow the news with Chet Huntley tonight on NBC Radio. In just a moment, X-1. But first, after a hard day's work, there's nothing more welcome than an evening of variety entertainment. That's just the tonic provided tomorrow night by NBC Radio. You'll laugh your cares away when good-natured contestants carry out the rib-tickling stunts dreamed up by MC Jack Bailey on NBC's Truth or Consequences. Later on, Groucho Marx peps things up with lots of spontaneous good fun and more of the friendly insults at which he is so accomplished. For a brighter, livelier evening tomorrow night, it's Groucho Marx and Truth or Consequences on this station. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus one.
Tonight, Bad Medicine by Finn O'Donovan. But first, farmers know they can't stop storms, floods, or droughts from ruining a crop. But they can make sure things like that can't ruin them by investing in United States savings bonds. Not only farmers, but over 40 million Americans in all sorts of jobs own 40 billions of savings bonds. And why? Because savings bonds are the easy way to start saving and to keep saving. And the money you invest in savings bonds mean protection now and ready cash when you need it in the future. Improving the farm, sending the youngsters to college, or planning your own retirement. These are the big things you can be ready for with savings bonds. And besides offering you a safe investment, each Series E savings bond pays you back $4 at maturity for every $3 you invest. Yes, you earn extra dollars while you save, so start saving now. For the big things in your life, be ready with United States savings bonds. And now, on with our story.
On May 2nd, 2103, Elwood Caswell walked rapidly down Broadway. It was a gentle, misty spring day, and the air held the smell of rain and blossoming trees. But Elwood Caswell didn't smell the rain and the trees. He just gripped the loaded gun he had in his pocket. He didn't want to use the weapon, but he was certain that he would. This was justifiable. You see, Elwood Caswell was a homicidal maniac.
Why shouldn't I kill him?
Hey, look out, will you?
Oh, sorry, sir. Only the other day he said to me, Elwood, you're looking very well. What business is it of his how I look?
Hey there, Elwood. Elwood.
Huh?
It's me, Marty Klein. I work on the jet buses with you, remember?
Oh, yeah, of course. Hello, Marty. Forgive me, my mind was on other things.
Yeah, I know how it is. A couple of weeks ago, I was walking around a fog so thick you could cut it.
Yeah, really?
Sure. Preoccupied, you know. I had this idea in my mind.
You too?
Yeah.
The same person?
Huh?
Were you troubled by the same person?
My wife. Hey, you okay?
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course.
Well, I had this idea, see? I was going to get rid of my wife.
Kill her?
Kill her? I mean, send her to a country for a week.
Oh.
You sure you ain't sick?
No, I never felt better.
Well, anyway, I was going to take a week off. Quit the jet buses. Hey, can you imagine? I've been a jet bus operator for 10 years now, and all of a sudden, I feel like I can't take it for another minute.
I know how you feel.
And I was going to take a trip all by myself.
A trip?
To where? To the farthest place I could think, to Mars. I was just going to pick up and take a vacation on Mars. Silly, huh?
I don't know. What happened?
Well, I talked it over with Ethel.
Your wife?
Yeah. Ethel, she's a real sensible girl. You know what she did?
No, am I supposed to?
Well, Ethel went right down to that home therapy appliance store, and she says, you got a home therapy machine that'll cure my husband of this idea he can't stay on the jet buses?
I've heard that those machines aren't perfected.
They got him licked now. So, okay, she describes the trouble, and next day they deliver this thing, and boom, I plug it in, see? And a voice talks to me. It starts asking me questions.
Yeah, what kind of questions?
All kinds. Things I wouldn't even tell my own mother.
You told the machine?
Why not? It's only a machine.
Yeah, I see your point.
Well, then the machine starts to tell me a few things. And before I knew it, inside a week, I'm cured. Now, I can't wait to go back driving the jet buses.
You don't say.
So that's why I say I know how it is to have one thing on your mind all the time like that.
This machine, what did it cost you?
That's the beauty part of it. My Ethel. Boy, she's a smart girl. After a week, she sends it back, see? She says it don't work. So all we lose is the deposit.
I see.
Well, I got to get back to work now. Hey, Ain't you working the jet buses today?
Huh? No, I'm off today.
Well, I'll see you, Elwood.
Yeah, see you, Marty. What was the name of that place?
Where they sell the home therapy machines.
Yeah.
Home therapy appliances. It's right down Broadway, about 2 blocks from here. So long, Elwood.
Perspiring freely, Elwood Caswell continued down Broadway toward 43rd Street. His friend Magnuson would be finishing work soon, returning to his apartment less than a block from Caswell's. Elwood gripped the gun tighter. How pleasant it would be to saunter in, exchange a word with him, and then...
No, I won't do it. I don't really want to kill anybody. It isn't right. Think what'll happen. The authorities will lock me up. My friends won't understand, and... Mother would never approve. Still, if I see Magnuson, if I see his hateful, accusing face in front of me... Oh, this must be the store. Yeah. Home therapy appliances.
Good afternoon, sir. Can I show you some of our home therapy appliances?
I want therapy. Quick.
Of course, sir. This way, please. Now then, this is our new alcoholic reliever built by International Combustion Motors and advertised in leading magazines. A handsome piece of furniture. I think you will agree, and not out of place in any home. It also opens into a television set.
Look, what I need...
Therapy, of course. I just want to point out this model need never cause embarrassment to you, your friends, or your loved ones. Notice, if you will, the recessed dial which controls the desired degree of alcoholism. You see, heavy, moderate, social, light, and teetotal. A new feature unique in mechanotherapy.
I'm not alcoholic. The New York Jet Bus Authority does not hire alcoholics.
Oh, sorry. You seem the type. No offense.
Please.
You seem rather nervous. Perhaps the portable anxiety reducer.
No.
Well, sir, perhaps if you told me just what you feel is bothering you.
What have you got for homicidal mania?
I beg your pardon?
Homicide. The urge to kill someone.
Oh, of course. Well, let's see now.
Pardon me. Have you worked here very long?
A week. Oh, yes, here's the ticket. This black job with the chrome trim.
What is it?
This, is a Rex regenerator, built by Planetary Motors Corporation. Handsome, Goes with any decor, opens into a well-stocked little bar, so your family, friends, loved ones need never...
Well, is your homicidal urge a strong one?
Oh, absolutely. Don't confuse this with the little 10-amp neurosis model. This is a hefty, heavy-duty, 25-amp machine for really deep-rooted conditions.
That's what I've got.
Well, this baby will jolt you out of it. Big, heavy-duty thrust bearings, oversized heat absorbers, completely insulated, sensitivity range
I'll
over...
take it.
Yes, sir.
With me, right now.
Now?
Before it's too late. I'll pay cash.
Well, yes, sir. It'll be a few hours before the warehouse can...
I'll take this one here.
Well, that's a floor demonstrator.
Does it work?
All of our demonstrators work.
Then I'll take it. I can't wait for a warehouse. I can't wait for anything. Have it put in a taxi for me.
Yes, sir.
Tell him to hurry. I want to kill my friend Magnuson, you know.
Who?
My friend, Magnuson.
Oh, of course. That'll be $400.59, sales tax included.
After Elwood Caswell left the store, the clerk, whose name was Haskins, smiled to himself and lighted a cigarette. He had made his first sale. He inhaled.
Haskins?
Yes, Mr. Follansby?
Smoking. I asked you to rid yourself of that filthy habit.
Immediately, Mr. Follansby. I'll use one of the display model denicotinizers at once. By the way, I just made a rather good sale, sir.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. One of our big Rex regenerators.
Well, now, it isn't often we... Wait a minute. Where's the floor model?
Well, sir, the customer was in an awful hurry. He was going to kill his friend.
You gave him the floor model?
Yes, sir. Was there any reason why...
Oh, grief, Haskins. Didn't I inform you we never sell a floor model?
But, sir...
Good heavens, I've got to get to him. What was his address?
Address?
His name, then.
Well, he didn't say.
Then his check.
But he paid cash.
You mean you just let him pick up the machine and walk out?
Well, sir, he paid cash.
He was homicidal, you say?
Yes, sir. His friend...
I don't care about his friend. Get the police. No. Call the Planetary Motor Security Division. Quick.
Yes, at once.
Well...
Excuse me, Mr. Follansby. What will I tell them?
Tell them, you fool. Tell them that one of our customers accidentally got that display regenerator they sent us. The one they shipped by accident. They were going to replace it tomorrow.
Yes, sir, the one they shipped by accident. Will they know?
If they don't be more explicit, tell them we've sold the Martian model. The one for treating psychotic Martians.
Meanwhile, Meanwhile, Elwood Caswell had returned to his apartment and lugged the big black Rex regenerator into his living room. He put it down near the couch and studied it carefully.
He was right. It does go with the room. Now then, let's see those instructions. Place regenerator near a comfortable couch. All right. Plug in machine. There. Affix contact band to your forehead. That's all there is to it. Just turn on the machine and it will do the rest. There will be no language problem since your regenerator communicates with you by direct sensory contact, patent pending. Well, that seems easy enough. Now, I'll just put the contact on my head. And blast it. Hello?
Elwood?
Yes?
This is Henry. Henry Magnuson. How are you, old boy?
I'm fine.
I wondered if you were doing anything tonight. Thought you might like to drop over for a game of chess.
Game of chess, huh? You stupid oaf.
What?
Nothing.
I thought you called me a stupid oaf.
Just talking to my cat.
Oh. I didn't remember you had a cat. I thought you hated cats.
Oh, I do. This isn't really mine. It's a neighbor's. It keeps coming in.
Oh. Well, what about tonight?
Will you be alone?
Well, yeah.
You haven't mentioned to anyone that you're inviting me over?
Not a soul. Why?
Someone's looking for me, a process server.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been avoiding him for days. I don't even leave word where I'll be when I go out.
You can trust me, Elwood. I'm your best friend.
Yes, you are. But not for long.
Huh?
Just talking to the cat again.
Oh. Well, will you be over?
Yeah.
In about an hour, okay?
Yeah, an hour will be fine. There are a few things I have to do
I just
first.
gotten some new laugh records from the boys at the office. I got something here that'll really kill you. So long, Elwood.
So long. I've got something here that'll kill you, too.
X-1 will continue in 1 minute.
Each of us has a personal reason for wanting to see cancer conquered. Steve Allen would like to tell you his.
I have a wife and 3 wonderful kids. And when I think about cancer going to strike 1 American in every 4, well, that's more than enough reason for wanting to see it conquered. I know that some people don't even want to think about cancer. But pretending it's not a threat, doing an ostrich routine, isn't going to get us anywhere. We've got to stand up to it and fight. We can fight, each and every one of us. Through the American Cancer Society, we can be part of the battle that someday will beat cancer once and for all. That day will come. But you and I have got to help. How about it?
Thank you, Steve Allen. Remember, fight cancer with a checkup and a check. See your doctor once a year for a checkup. It's your best cancer insurance. And to help conquer cancer, send a check to your unit of the American Cancer Society. Make it generous.
And now, on with our story.
Taking the revolver from his pocket, Elwood laid it on the table in front of him. His face became suffused with hatred at the thought of Magnuson. He poked at the gun with a stiff forefinger.
Magnuson, you no-good, shifty-eyed enemy of all that's decent in the world. The man who ruined my sister Irene. The man who... Wait a minute, Elwood. You have no sister, remember? No sister. Now, before you go off and commit murder, why not just try that machine just once, huh? Turn it on. Okay, now reach over and...
Good afternoon, Elwood. I am your mechanical therapist. You may call me Gloop.
Gloop?
You seem surprised. It is a perfectly common name here on this planet.
Gloop, of course. I've heard it many times.
Now then, I am scanning the material in your preconscious with the intent of synthesis, diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment.
Yes?
I find... This is a most unusual case.
Really? I thought it was simple homicidal mania.
There is, of course, no such thing. You are obviously hallucinating a set of symptoms. Nonsense syllables to enable you to avoid the real problem.
Oh?
A most unusual set of symptoms, I must say.
Your pilot light seems to be fading.
My light is not fading. I am merely trying to relate your symptoms to proven theory.
Well, as long as you know what you're doing.
Mechanotherapy is an exact science, Elwood. It admits of no significant errors. We will proceed.
Good.
First, the word association test.
Fire away.
I will proceed to give a word. You answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready?
Ready.
House.
Home.
Planet.
Earth.
Just musing. Now, Fleeful.
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 That sounds like a Martian word.
Just give me a response.
Fleeful, Okay. I can make 'em up, too. Marfouche. That's a pretty good one, huh? Made it up in the spur of the moment.
Marfouche is very significant. It is a corruption of the Martian concept of fush klib. Very significant.
I don't know any Martian words.
Aha, noteworthy. We will proceed. Loud.
Soft.
Green.
Mother.
Panagoyas.
Pathamathanga. How's that one?
At ease.
Nexothesmodrassica. Top that.
Katif of snow-hell gnoptices.
Okay. Rigamaroo, Kalamazoo, Iggity-bibbity-boo.
Good. It fits the pattern.
Pattern?
Your neurosis. I can diagnose it now.
Go on.
You have a classic case of theme desire, complicated by strong dwarkish intentions.
I could have sworn I was homicidal.
The term has no referent. It must be rejected as nonsense. Now, if you'll just settle back on the couch, we'll proceed.
At precisely this moment, a tall, gnarled, ugly man pushed his way through the doors of home therapy appliances. His clothing, unpressed and uncaring, hung on him like corrugated iron. When the clerk, Hoskins, approached him, he flipped back his lapel to show a small silver badge underneath.
Sir?
John Rath, Planetary Motor Security Division.
Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Follinsby, Mr. Follinsby.
Yes, sir. Hello, Follinsby.
Mr. Rath,
Well?
So far we haven't a single lead.
You're certain he never mentioned his name?
Oh, yes, sir.
Now think. Is there anything significant?
Is it serious, Mr. Rath?
Mr. Follinsby, this man is homicidal.
Won't it treat him?
Homicide is unknown on Mars. It'll treat him for the most likely Martian sickness.
What would that be?
Theme desire, Mr. Follinsby.
Theme desire?
It's a Martian illness in which the victim feels cursed by the tree-like nourishing parent, although, of course, Martians don't have parents in the ordinary sense. Well, Haskins?
I remember one thing. He mentioned he was a jet bus operator for the New York Jet Bus Authority.
Ah.
One other thing.
Yes?
I believe, yes, he was alcoholic.
An alcoholic jet bus operator. Excellent. It'll be on his records. Get the Jet Bus Authority at once.
But surely, Elwood, you remember your Gorisy.
No.
Tell me then about your juvenile experiences with the Forrestrian fleet.
Never had one.
Complete blockage.
My father...
There is no such thing, of course.
But...
I thought we finally agreed on that.
Okay, if you say so.
Now then, since you claim you don't even know what a Gorisy is, tell me what you imagine it to be.
A forest fire. A salt tablet? A small screwdriver? Am I getting warm? A revolver? What the heck is a Gorisy?
Why, the tree that nourished you into puberty.
No tree nourished me.
You have completely repressed the experience.
No tree ever nourished me.
Mr. Caswell, let me try to explain your case as best I can. Somewhere in your childhood, your Gorisy, or parent tree, stifled your theme desire. Now, this gave rise to your present urge to dwark someone in a Flendish manner.
To what?
To dwark someone in a Flendish manner.
Listen, you crummy piece of hardware. I have never had a Gorisy. I have no desire to dwark someone in a Flendish manner or any other manner. All I want to do is put a bullet into Herbert Magnuson. Understand? All I want to do is kill Magnuson.
Lie down, Mr. Caswell. We'll go over it again.
My dear man, I'm not trying to insinuate that the Jet Bus Authority hires alcoholics. If you will just...
Any luck?
It's a dead end. Now, Haskins.
Yes, sir.
A man's life may be at stake here. Now think. Was there anything else this fellow said to you? Anything?
Well, he did mention the name of his friend.
Of which friend?
The one he was going to kill.
The one he... Why didn't you say so? Now, what was it?
Magnuson.
You sure?
That's it. He said, I'm going to kill Magnuson. You know, just casually like that.
Follinsby, see if there's a Magnuson in the Manhattan phone book. Now, hurry it up.
Yes, Mr. Caswell, you were saying?
Well...
Something about your Goracy?
Yes, I was saying I think perhaps you're right.
Naturally. But right about what, Mr. Caswell?
Well, I think perhaps... Yes, I think perhaps I do remember my Goracy.
Ah! Now, Mr. Caswell, we're on the road to a cure.
Mr. Magnuson?
Yes?
Do you know a short, angry-looking, red-haired man?
I might.
Thank heaven.
Or I might not.
Can you tell us where to locate him?
You're a process server, huh?
Certainly not.
Don't kid me.
Mr. Magnuson, this man is trying to kill you.
Go on, you're full of happy pills. Elwood's my best friend.
Elwood?
He loves me like a brother. And if you think I'm going to stick some process server onto
Mr.
him...
Magnuson, I'm not a process server. Your friend Elwood is a psychopathic killer. You're his intended victim. Can you get that through your thick skull? I'm trying to save your life.
Yes.
You're Elwood Caswell?
Yes.
The Elwood Caswell who bought a Rex regenerator early this afternoon?
Yes. Won't you come in?
Thank you. My name is Rath, Planetary Motors.
Nice to meet you.
Have you used the machine?
Oh, yes.
I see. Mr. Caswell, I don't know how to explain this, but we made a terrible mistake. The regenerator you took was a Martian model for giving therapy to Martians.
I know.
You do?
Yes, it became pretty obvious after a while.
Well, it was a dangerous situation, especially for a man in your condition.
Yes, the poor thing tried its best, but of course it couldn't cure what wasn't there.
Well, then the company will, of course, reimburse you for your lost time and your mental anguish.
Naturally.
And we will substitute a regular human-type regenerator.
Oh, that won't be necessary. You see...
Mr. Caswell, will you put down that gun? Now, I warn you.
I'm not going to shoot you. I merely want to turn this gun over to you.
You do?
Yes, I'm not going to shoot anybody.
You mean that...
The machine's attempt at therapy forced me to reappraise my whole self. There was an insight during which I was able to get rid of my obsession.
You no longer want to kill your friend Magnuson?
Kill Magnuson? Why, I haven't the faintest urge.
Well, I must say, then, that it worked out for the best. I'll get back to the store and have him pick up this machine in an hour. And, well, sir...
don't forget to take this gun. I won't need it.
Of course. Well, nice to have met you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Did you hear that? He asked me if I still intended to kill Magnuson. Magnuson, that inhuman monster who cut down my Goracy. Magnuson, the man who even now is secretly planning to infect New York with abhorrent fiend desire. Am I going to kill him? Oh, no. I wish him a long life, a life filled with the torture I can now inflict on him. Kill Magnuson? Oh, no. I'm going to start right now to thwart him in a vlendish manner.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Honorable Opponent by Clifford D. Simak, the story of an Earth general with the distasteful assignment of meeting a delegation of unmilitary clowns who arrive as conquerors. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. In a moment, tonight's cast and a preview of next week's exciting drama.
They took the blue from the skies, and the pretty girl died, and the sun of old glory flew, and gave it to the men who proudly wear the U.S. Air Force. on America's team. We're a rugged and ready crew. And you can bet your boots the world looks up to U.S. Air Force Blue. To U.S. Air Force Blue. We know where we're going. We set our course. The sky's no limit in the Air Force. They took the blue from the skies and the pretty girls' lives and the touch of old glory's hue. And gave it to the men who proudly wear the U.S. Air Force Blue. We proudly wear the blue, the U.S. Air Force Blue.
Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Bad Medicine, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Finn O'Donovan and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Cliff Carpenter, Bill Britton, Alan Manson, Charles Webster, Carl Weber, and Joseph Julian. Norman Rose was heard as the machine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Bob Maurer and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Weekday, the companion and advisor to America's women, offers a new informative series on childbirth. It's the actual case history of a young wife, following her through the late stages of pregnancy, childbirth, and postnatal care. You'll attend the childbirth courses offered at New York's Mount Sinai Hospital, and even enter the delivery room for the actual birth of the child. Listen tomorrow for the real-life series, The Story of Birth. Then, on the same program, listeners can also enjoy more women's specialties. Kitchen Hints by Charlotte Adams, Child Care News with Dr. Francis Horwich, Vacation Ideas offered by Walter Kiernan, and another personal visit with your radio friend, Mary Margaret McBride. Don't forget the exciting dramatization each day from Taylor Caldwell's book, Tender Victory. Be sure to join Virginia Graham and Mike Wallace tomorrow on this NBC station. Follow the news with Chet Huntley tonight on NBC Radio.
For the first time since Jerry Hall, Mrs. Gregory, and Tex Bradford have been prisoners on their captive yacht at the magic island of Euclidia, they have a chance to escape. G-47, their mad scientific captor, has allowed them to remain aboard their yacht. With the aid of the opaque cloth made on the island, our friends have insulated a cabin on the yacht and may talk in safety. Their radio is useless for transmission, but through code messages received from the operator on the other Gregory boat, help may soon be near. Captain Bradford is about to explain the plan to Jerry as Joan and her mother come into the cabin.
Now, hurry and get under this thing, Pat. You too, Joan. Well, Pat, thanks to you and your determination to take the bosun and bosun's mate with us on every cruise, we're about to get a message to Johnson.
How long will it take Johnson to get within range?
It all depends on what time he sails from San Pedro. We'll keep our receiver open, and he'll let us know when he's within striking distance.
And how much we'll all owe to the little bosun and his mate. I'm certainly glad now we've always carried them and trained them.
Hey, for the love of Pete, will you two quit talking and tell somebody else what it's all about?
Yes, Mother. You and the captain talk so fast. Jerry and I do not know what it is all about.
I'm sorry, Joan. I was just going to explain it to Jerry when you and your mother came back to the cabin.
You see, Joan, dear, we haven't had a chance to show you over the whole boat as yet, and we forgot you hadn't seen the pigeons.
Well, of all the nuts, I'm the worst. I watched those pigeons all the way down here from Los Angeles and never thought to ask a question about them.
But what can pigeons have to do with getting a message to your friend Johnson?
They're not just pigeons. They're homing pigeons. Gosh, and I never even thought of it.
Well, don't feel too badly, Jerry. You're quick enough to see the significance in most things.
Say, Joan.
Yes, Captain Bradford?
Didn't you ever hear them talk about homing pigeons here on Euclidia?
I have never heard a word about them. So it must be that the scientists do not talk much about them, for they are so sure no one can escape from the island that they discuss most things before all of us.
I hope you're right, and it seems possible that you are. This infernal Euclidia is so far ahead of the world in scientific development, they must have forgotten the old standbys, or scorn to use them.
G-47 always says that all things scientific are superior to the finest things in nature.
That belief is the first weakness in the reasoning of G47 that I have found.
I guess he figures that homing pigeons are old-fashioned.
That may be, but they're the only possible method of getting a message through that magnetized fog and all the other electrochemical devices this island is protected with.
Do these pigeons really carry messages?
You bet they do. And they fly fast, too.
It is wonderful to learn that. We have pigeons on Euclidia also, but they are used only for pigeon pie. We have none that can talk. Only our parrots can talk, and they are not trained to carry messages.
Our pigeons can't talk either, my dear.
Then how do they carry messages?
Oh, Joan.
Now you are laughing at me.
Well, I'm sorry, honey. We shouldn't do that. You see, these pigeons can't talk. We write a message on a piece of thin, strong paper, then tie it to their leg with a fine wire band and turn them loose. They are taught to return to one place, or one kind of a place, and someone is waiting there to get the message.
Well, if we're going to do anything with them, we'd better get busy and send one off because if old G47 finds us looking too happy, he'll know we've got some plan, and then he'll make kindling wood out of this yacht to find out what it is.
Nevertheless, we'll have to be patient for several hours, maybe a day or two.
Why can't we let the pigeon go now, right away?
We've got to wait till Johnson gets the other boat within the range these birds can cover. We're about 4,000 miles from Los Angeles, on this island, and the longest recorded flight over water was only a little over 1,000. And that's about the limit so far as I know.
Well, if Johnson started from here the same time he got my first message that we were in danger, before old G47 got me with that ray gun and made me change the message, Johnson's boat ought to be 1,000 miles out of San Pedro by now.
How fast does this ship, the ship that Mr. Johnson is in, how fast will it travel?
He'll be using our diesel-motored cruiser, and although it's nearly a 100-foot boat, it's built on hydroplane specifications, and Johnson runs it as if it had wings. So he ought to average from 50 to 55 knots for the run.
Golly whiskers. Who ever heard of a big boat going 55 knots an hour for 4,000 miles?
We have a number of things that the world in general never heard of, son. That boat will do all of that. But the worry is that heavily loaded with all my scientific equipment on board, it will burn a lot of fuel.
And how will the fuel be replenished, Captain?
From various ships Johnson will contact along the run. Ships flying Mrs. Gregory's merchant pennant, which will then put out from several ports to meet him.
Boy, you're sure some mysterious people, all right. But just so as it comes out okay, I guess I can wait for the answers till you get ready to give them to me.
You are an intelligent boy, Jerry.
I know it.
Now, you two keep still. We've got to figure just when to get that pigeon off to Johnson. There are many things to be planned and done before this flight can start. One thing, Tex. We must remember that magnetic fog and use string rather than wire on the leg band.
Tex, I know what to do. A thread from this cloth of theirs.
You do not have to worry about that all the time. And sometimes the fog is not magnetized.
Are you sure about that, Joan?
That would make it easier, wouldn't it, Tex?
That would make it almost simple.
But how can you tell that the fog is not magnetized all the time?
I have heard the scientists talking about it. They magnetize the fog only when danger is near, and they have instruments which warn them of a boat or airplane 100 miles away. G47 says the constant utilization of current in the magnetism of the fog ring is too heavy a drain on the electric supply, which is difficult to replenish quickly.
Well, that sounds reasonable. With all the machines they have running, all electrically driven, I imagine, they should conserve their power as much as possible. But how can you tell when the fog is magnetized and when it is not?
It is magnetized only when the danger signal shows.
Where is this danger signal, Gag?
There is a red light in the center of the island by night and a red signal by day.
Then if we make sure the red light is not displayed, we may safely send the pigeon.
I think it will be quite safe, Mother.
It looks as if we're getting somewhere at last.
But suppose G47 discovers these pigeons before we can use them.
I got it. It's dark now. I'll go out and get the pigeons and bring them in here. Then he can't see them through this cloth.
I will go with you, Jerry.
Now, hold it, you kids. We'd better not go near the pigeons when we want them.
But, Tex, what if someone on the island notices them before we want them?
Did you see the pigeons when you looked in that machine in their headquarters, Jerry?
Sure. I saw everything on the yacht. The pigeons were playing.
Yeah, I thought so. And we don't dare to move them. Chances are they haven't attracted any attention. Maybe they won't. But you can bet someone is watching this boat every minute. And if anything was moved and brought in here where they couldn't see it, they'd be down for a look-see in a second.
If G47 knows all about the things these pigeons can do, and he must know it, I cannot understand how he let you keep them at all. He would know they could fly out with messages.
That worries me, too. Do you suppose they're just waiting to trap us when we use the pigeons?
They're smart enough to be at that. G47 might figure I'd try to send a pigeon out with a formula.
Joan knows all these guys and how crazy they are. What do you think about it?
It is obvious that G47 knows about the pigeons, and he would know that they were, what you called them?
Homing pigeons.
Yes, homing pigeons. But he is so scornful of nature and so secure in his own inventions that he might be careless about it.
That's possible, of course. Every man will make a mistake sometime, and this may be the one G47 will make.
Tex, how close has Johnson got to be to us before there's a good chance of these birds getting to his boat?
We'll let him get as close as possible, though these are well-trained birds, well cared for, and in the best of condition. They should make 500 miles straight as an arrow and right on schedule, providing weather conditions and other influences were favorable, of course.
How far away will these automatic alarms on the island detect a foreign object?
A large boat with motors can be located 200 miles away, an airplane 10,000 feet in the air, and even a rowboat or a swimmer 20 to 25 miles.
And these alarms are strictly automatic, operating and registering disturbances all the time?
At all times. And everything which comes within range of the alarms leaves a record on a recording device.
Gosh, this is sure a tough one.
If we get out of this one, we'll have something to tell the folks back home. And I think we'll get out sometime.
Well, how will we know when Johnson is near enough to turn loose one of the birds?
He'll keep on our radio beam, and we have a code that is simple but effective. So we'll be advised of his position at all times.
I hope these men don't get wise to the fact that receiving Johnson's apparently hopeless message is of value to us. It would be easy enough for them to block Johnson's carrier wave.
Captain Bradford, do not think me impertinent. You are a wise man, and I am only a young girl. But I would like to offer a little advice.
Your offer is gladly accepted. Advice is what we need most of.
I should figure, in your place, that G47 knows what every message you receive means to you. And the only reason he is letting you receive them is that he believes he can trap you into something which may give him access to your formula.
Oh, gee whiz, Joan. You're too scared of that old guy.
Joan has lived here all her life, Jerry. 14 of her 15 years. And she's seen many things done on this island that we couldn't even imagine.
Well, just the same, everybody's got to make a mistake. And it's old G47's turn now.
I think you may be right, Jerry, but we should be very careful.
Now, here's another place where you can be a lot of help to us, Joan. Suppose we do get a pigeon free, get one outside the fog wall, and start it north for Johnson's boat. What have they to run it down with or catch it?
The large ray guns would do it, but they are not too accurate at any great distance.
How much is a great distance to these guys?
Something less than 50 miles, I think.
That seems a long way to us, my dear.
Too far. But suppose the pigeon got away for, say, an hour and a half to 2 hours before they discovered it. Then what? These birds do 40 miles an hour.
The floor of the island would open up, and a fleet of tiny airplanes shoot out. They will fly over 500 miles an hour and stay in the air for 18 hours.
And they'd soon fly the birds down.
Our only hope is to get a pigeon out soon after dark and hope they don't discover it till daylight.
Are you sure the pigeon can find the other boat?
Yeah. Suppose he sees something else to land on. What then?
Those pigeons have been trained between these two boats and never failed. They've covered distances up to 500 miles, and I think they could do 1,000 if they had to.
And Johnson has a pair on his boat, which are trained to come to this boat. And only exhaustion would make them land on anything else.
That's right, and that's something else to worry about.
How come?
Well, if Johnson should send a pigeon before we do, the pigeon thing is exposed.
Yes, but
quiet, here's Johnson.
J24Y. J12 calling Bradford on J24Y. Can you hear me, J24Y? No signal from you. Your beam may be broken by a storm. I am using land relay. Storm directly on Los Angeles beam to last position you gave me. Stand by for location of storm center. Try to reach me through land relay.
Quiet now. When he gives us a location of the storm center, that will be his own position. He's telling us in code how near his boat is to us.
Advise you try directional beam to coast of Chile. Ask them relay to me. Storm center. Can you hear me? Storm center is...
48 hours on the Magic Island. 48 hours in this strange scientific colony called Euclidia. The cabins of the Gregory yacht are now completely lined with the sound and light-proof cloth of the island. The Gregory party can talk in privacy, as the delicate recording instruments of the scientists cannot penetrate the opaque cloth of their own manufacture. G47, mad genius of the island, has allowed Mrs. Gregory, her daughter, and friends to remain aboard their yacht, tied to the island. Captain Bradford, Mrs. Gregory, Joan, and Jerry are grouped in the radio cabin of the yacht. It is midnight, their third midnight at the island.
Well, what do you think of your new suit, Jerry?
Oh, it's all right, I guess, but Mrs. Gregory isn't so hot as a tailor.
I'm sorry, Jerry, but it will do for our purpose.
You look quite nice in a suit of Euclidean kelp cloth, I think, Jerry.
There you are, Jerry. Joan likes it, so you're all right.
Oh, I don't care much how it looks, just so as it does the trick.
There isn't any other way to get the pigeon into the cabin here without someone on Euclidia noticing it.
Are you so sure, Captain Bradford, that this pigeon will fly to the other boat and find it?
I never knew one of these birds to fail yet.
I wish we'd hear from Johnson again. How close do you figure him to be now, Tex?
He's not more than 700 or 800 miles, and likely making about 40 knots now. He'll be slowing up as he gets nearer to try and discover what's wrong with us before he runs into needless danger himself.
He'd never dream the sort of place we're prisoners on. And with G47 blocking our radio beam, we haven't a thing but the homing pigeons to warn him with.
What message will you send with the pigeon, Captain?
I'll have to send instructions about my formula. It is the only thing to attack the island with.
But suppose the pigeon goes to the wrong boat or makes to land someplace. Then your formula will be in someone else's hands.
No matter who gets what I send, any country in the world would come to our aid here. Remember that our escape will probably mean the only chance there is of saving the entire world from scientific conquest by these madmen.
Joan, dear, what do you think their attitude would be if they should take over the world? Are they criminals or merely power mad?
I think they are mad for power. Selfish ambition to rule over and terrorize people. They speak of people in your world as dumb animals, only fit to do the bidding of the Euclideans.
Then I'm afraid the world would be just a gigantic laboratory for them to experiment with.
I think that, Mother. And I know they plan to put machines at work in place of human brains, to experiment on people as they do now on animals, and rule the world by science.
Nice people to meet on a dark night. Golly, but we've got a job ahead of us. If we can only get off this crazy island and destroy it, we can really save the world.
This is war, Jerry, and a war that means freedom for the civilized people of the world. We've got to win. Our lives mean very little at a time like this.
Our lives will mean plenty to the rest of the world if we can just keep alive long enough to get this message through to Johnson.
Ready for me to bring the pigeon in now?
Might as well, Jerry. Now look, try to act natural standing in front of the coat, and look all around carefully. When you are sure no one is looking, slip the pigeon inside your suit and come back in here.
Wait, Jerry. Be sure the warning light in the center of the island is not burning. That will mean the electrical eyes on the island are not working. The fog will not be magnetized, and only the long beam signals will be sweeping the ocean outside the fog ring.
You're a great help, my dear. You remember everything.
We on Euclidia are well trained in observation.
Okay, Jerry, go to it. Watch your step and go slowly and naturally, both going and coming back.
Right. I'll take my time.
Now, Joan, you know more about this island than we do. What do you think Jerry's chances are to get that pigeon and return here without being seen?
He will undoubtedly be seen, but there is a possibility that no one will notice him taking the pigeon from its usual place and slipping it under his coat.
And you are sure this cloth will keep the islanders from seeing he is carrying anything unusual under his coat?
If he is not stopped and searched because he's wearing the special cloth suit, no one will see through it.
Oh, Tex, we should have thought of that. Of course there'll be a guard on the yacht, and he'll stop Jerry and question him about that suit.
Got to chance it.
But G47 promised to outfit us completely in the cloth tomorrow. Then we could have done this without arousing any suspicion.
You are right, Mother. It would have been much wiser to wait until tomorrow night to try and get the pigeon from the stern of the yacht.
I know it would from a detection angle, but we can't afford waiting till tomorrow night.
Why not, Tex? Johnson will have the other boat much nearer then, and the pigeons would reach it easily and quickly.
Exactly, and Johnson would also be reached easily and quickly by the devices they have here on this mad island.
That is also true, Captain. Your other boat will be in danger of being reported on these delicate instruments of G47s when it is within 200 miles.
That was stupid of me, wasn't it, Tex?
No, this is enough to mix anyone up. We'll all think together.
Naturally, we must get word to Johnson while he's still out of range of their detectives. But, Joan, you said the Euclideans watched our yacht all the way from the coast of California to this island, 4,000 miles. How then is Johnson safe to within 200 miles?
They were watching for you to sail. When they use the universal prism reflectors with full power on a narrow focus, They have a range of 8,000 miles. But the object must be in daylight, and the apparatus is strictly directional.
Good. Then at night, and Johnson will be running down the same time zone we lie in, at night all they use is a general wide-range detector. And this is no good beyond 200 miles?
That is right, Captain. Then the quicker we get the Pigeon off to Johnson, the better. As our plans might go for nothing, even if the bird made the boat, but Johnson was caught.
Yes, Mother. G-47 would send out a submarine or straight-a-plane and destroy him before daylight.
Have you the message all written out, Tex?
This tiny roll of paper contains all the information Johnson needs. That is, all he will need for the present. If this gets through, it's a matter of routine to finish the job.
This Pigeon must get through, Tex. I feel that we'd never be given a second chance. It's now or never.
I got him all right, and not a soul was anywhere near the yacht.
But that yellow haze, how could you see through it?
They are not using the sub-ultraviolet fog tonight. It is too difficult to generate and uses up too much of the supply of gas. They only use it in time of danger.
Or when they want to impress someone with their tricks, as they did when we landed. All right, we'd better lose no time now. Handle the Pigeon carefully, kid.
Right.
They're mighty sensitive about how they're handled.
Oh, what a nice little bird. It doesn't seem possible that it could fly as fast and as far as you say.
Homing pigeons are very wonderful, my dear, and they seldom fail.
Now hold him gently but firmly, Jerry, while I tie this roll of paper on his leg. I'm using Euclidean cloth thread, so there's no danger of any magnetic force holding this little fellow back.
How do I let him go?
Better just walk around the deck again. Take a turn all the way around. Then when you stroll slowly up near the stern on the starboard side, just open your coat and let it out. Then keep on walking. Take another turn of the boat if it seems natural, and don't hurry back in here.
Will that message not blow off in the wind?
Not the way Tex is tying it on. He's tied too many of them.
No, sir. This note will stay with the Pigeon till Johnson takes it off.
Are you sure the Pigeon can find the other boat in the dark?
They've been trained as much in night flying as in day.
They'll do it easily enough, but this one won't have to. It ought to be daylight when he reaches the boat.
But how will Mr. Johnson catch it without hurting it?
There's a coat on Johnson's boat to which this bird has been trained to fly. The door will be open, and the bird goes in. That's all there is to it.
I wish we knew exactly where Johnson was. It would be a shame to start the poor little cruiser off with its goal out of reach.
No danger of that if Johnson's last position was correct, and he keeps coming at 40 knots or better.
There he is, Jerry. Handle him gently. Do just as I told you. And if you should meet anyone, you're just going for a walk. Someone is likely patrolling the pier along the yacht rail.
Be careful, Jerry.
I will. Don't worry so much.
Better button up your coat. It's loose enough so it won't crush the bird. And let your arms swing naturally as you walk around the deck. Good luck, kid.
Well, here I go again. Now, don't worry about anything.
Oh, Tex.
Don't be nervous, Pat. It's out of our hands now.
Jerry will do it right, Mother. He's a very clever boy.
I know that, dear, but it's such a strain. We've been tied up to this ghastly island just over 48 hours now. And it seems like a lifetime.
No good to worry about it, Pat. You and Joan better go to your own cabin and get some rest as soon as Jerry gets the Pigeon started.
How long will it be before we get an answer?
Well, that all depends on...
J24Y. J12C calling J24Y.
Hold it. There's Johnson now. At least they haven't stopped the incoming beams.
J12 to J24Y. Hello, J24. J12C reporting. No signal from you. Land stations report they cannot raise you. Taking chance of this getting through to you. Storm warning. Storm center near your last reported position. May be reason you cannot get signal to me. Serious storm is reported moving directly north of you. Storm moving south at terrific speed. Present storm center, 17 degrees south. If you are getting my signal, advise you run out of storm course. Land stations report all radio channels near you blocked by some terrific electrical disturbance. If you can hear me, run for it. Storm center, 17 degrees south. Confirm if you can hear me. That is all. Johnson on J12C.
Oh, Tex, he's coming fast, isn't he?
I'll say he is. 17 degrees south, eh? And we're only 29.
Then he's just 12 degrees north of us.
I'm so excited I can't figure it out in my head. You got a pencil, Tex?
Yeah, and I'm using it for that same little thing.
I've got it figured, Mother.
You have?
You mentally converted degrees into miles that fast?
Of course. That is simple. Oh, I did not use the fractions, but there are approximately 69 statute or land miles to a degree at this latitude.
Joan, You know the conversion tables by memory?
You certainly got an education on this island. There isn't one person in 100 who could figure that in their head, even if they knew the conversion tables.
12 degrees at 69 miles to a degree is 828 miles.
Then if Johnson is making 40 knots an hour or more...
He's making plenty more. He said Storm traveling south at terrific speed. And terrific speed with Johnson means all the boat will do. And the Pigeon will make 40 going to meet him if the wind is favorable.
Then they should meet in less than 5 hours.
Right you are. Johnson will have that message at daylight.
But suppose G47 has figured out Johnson's code. What if he knows that every time Johnson reported the storm center, he was giving his own position?
He's sure to know it. For one thing, his own radio beam will tell him there is no storm. He knows Johnson's coming, and he wants him to keep on coming, so he can capture that boat also, as he probably knows most of our equipment is on it.
But if Johnson is captured, we can do nothing.
Don't worry, dear. That Pigeon will get to Johnson's boat 300 or 400 miles from here, and Johnson will turn and run out of the danger the minute he reads the message.
Oh, boy. Everything's swell. Not a soul was on our side of the island, and the Pigeon took off into the north side of the fog like a bullet after he fluttered around a minute and got his bearings.
Oh, Mother, the Pigeon really got away.
I'll say he got away.
And it won't be long till we all get away.
The Super Delicious Cereal presents
The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman. And today, the man who calls himself Mr. Phillips promises to tell Inspector Henderson his story. We'll join them in a moment. But right now, here's a word from your announcer. Okay, Dan.
Say, gang, even though Christmas Day is over, most of you fellows and girls still have some vacation left from school. And during the holidays, the kids in our neighborhood are going great guns on their collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Why, I've seen the kids in huddles comparing notes on how many comic buttons they've collected so far and swapping duplicates with each other and showing off how snappy these buttons look pinned on their jacket or their dress or cap. Because these comic buttons are just about the brightest and the smartest things you ever saw. They're done up in full comic strip colors, red and blue and black, and they're made of sturdy metal, too, so they'll last and last. And every one of the 18 different buttons has a true-to-life picture of one of your favorite funny paper characters. There's even one of Superman himself. And say, aren't these comic buttons easy to get? You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But every time Mom opens a new package of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep, there's your exciting prize. One of these slick-looking comic buttons, or a military insignia or warplane button. Tell Mom you'll eat lots of P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
When Lois Lane called at a jewelry shop for a handsome silver-encrusted atomizer ordered by a man believed to be Mr. Jones, the mysterious criminal leader who had boasted he could destroy Superman, Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson trailed the girl reporter to a church. It was Christmas Eve. And to the amazement of Kent and Henderson, the choir leader at the church answered perfectly to the description of Mr. Jones. As Superman, Kent left and returned with Batman, who positively identified the choir leader as Jones. Henderson arrested both Jones and Lois, and the man who at first insisted his name was Phillips then offered to reveal a strange story. As we continue now in a small music studio almost filled by a baby grand piano with Batman on guard in the front hall, the slender, scholarly-looking choir leader sits opposite Henderson, Kent, and Lois, and nervously fingering his pince-nez glasses, begins his story. Listen.
Going to tell you a secret I've kept locked in my heart for many years. I didn't believe anything could ever make me reveal it. But now...
But now that we've got the goods on you, you decided to come clean, huh? Or is this another trick?
I assure you it is not, Inspector.
Well, if it is, it won't work. You can take my word for it.
I understand. I want to tell you about two brothers who loved each other very dearly.
I'm not interested in two brothers. I'm interested in two stolen pieces of kryptonite that you said you were going to use to finish Superman. Now, where are they?
Well, how would Mr. Phillips know where the kryptonite is?
He tricked the Scarlet Widow into telling him and then shot her, that's how.
The Scarlet Widow?
What? Oh, You're mad, Inspector. You're stark-staring mad.
Now, wait a minute.
Look, that line won't get you anyplace, Miss Lane. You know Phillips is Mr. Jones.
I know.
Yes, you.
Why, I never
Lois,
heard...
Inspector, stop it. We're not getting anywhere this way.
Well, then
Now, we agreed to listen to this man's story, so let's do it.
Fair enough, Kent. Go ahead. Say your piece.
Yes, Inspector. I started to tell you about two brothers who were very close to each other. But while they were in college, one of them, we'll call him Richard, was seriously hurt in an automobile accident. For a long time, he was not expected to live. And when he finally recovered, he was changed.
How do you mean, changed?
He was altogether different, Mr. Kent. He mistrusted everyone, and soon he began to hate everyone. He hardly ever talked to anyone, and when he did, it was to say something sneering or nasty.
I don't see where this is getting us anyplace.
Please let me finish, Inspector.
Okay.
In the two brothers last year at college, Richard, the one who had been in the accident, was expelled for stealing. He was furious. He said it showed that everyone was against him. He swore he'd get back at them. Then he forged his father's name to a check. That practically bankrupted his father, and Richard disappeared.
He was mentally sick.
Well, of course he was.
I'm beginning to get the drift of all this, Jones. You're hoping to beat a murder rap by pleading insanity.
Just a minute, Inspector. You don't understand. I haven't been telling you about myself.
Huh?
What do you mean?
I've been telling you about my brother.
Your brother?
Yes.
Oh, I think I get it.
You see, Hold it, Kent. Let him talk. Go on, Jones.
My brother's name actually is Richard. We're twins. And I'm very much afraid that Richard is the man you speak of as Mr. Jones.
Good heavens.
What? How do you like that guy trying to pull a gag like that on me? Look, mister, we've wasted enough time.
Just a moment. I'll prove that I'm telling the truth.
Hey, where are you going?
Just to this cabinet. There's something in it you should see.
Now, don't get any ideas like pulling a gun.
There are no guns in the cabinet, Inspector.
You stay out of this, Kent.
Here, I have an album here which I'd like to show all of you. Perhaps you'd like to call the gentleman in the strange costume who identified me as Mr. Jones.
That man? No, I want him to stay in the hall and watch the entrance. But don't worry. He can hear everything.
Very well. Here, I'll set the album on the piano where you can all see it. Now, here are photographs of Richard and myself as infants. We were, as you can see, identical twins.
Well, yes. What cute babies.
Baby pictures don't mean a thing.
What's that? I see what you mean. Here, I'll skip to where we're older then. Here we are in high school.
Why, I could tell one of those boys was you, Mr. Phillips.
Well, I couldn't.
Well, how about these pictures of us in college then, Inspector? Now, these were taken before Richard's accident. You certainly recognize me there, don't you?
He'd have to be blind if he didn't.
Is that so?
Yes.
Okay, so those pictures do look like you and like you've got an identical twin brother, too. But I've seen plenty of trick photography.
Of all the suspicious people.
It's my business to be suspicious, particularly where murder is involved. Now, look, Mr. Jones, or Phillips, if you're telling the truth, I suppose you've got some birth records around.
Unfortunately, I haven't.
Uh-oh. Well, I didn't think you did.
You see, my father was town clerk in the little Iowa town where Richard and I were born. He and Mother lived in the town hall, and when a fire destroyed it, and then...
Yeah, I get it. All the records were lost, including the birth records of you and your twin brother. Honest, Jones, for a guy who was head of the Crescent and Star Mob, you ought to be able to do better than that.
I swear it's the truth.
Well, where is this twin brother of yours?
I don't know.
Sure. Now, let's get going. We've wasted too much time already. You too, Miss Lane.
Me?
Naturally. Unless it was your twin sister who picked up the atomizer for Jones this evening. Come on.
No. Clark, don't let him.
Just a moment, Inspector.
I told you before to stay out of this, Kent.
But...
Okay, Jones. Hold out your right hand. You hold out your left, Miss Lane.
Please, Inspector, wait one moment. You're wrong, and I can prove it. Or rather, Mr. Phillips can.
I'm not listening to any more twin brother gags.
You won't have to. Now, Mr. Phillips, an innocent girl's reputation and freedom are involved here. And there's a little business of a murder. So I think the thing to do is to convince Inspector Henderson he's wrong, don't you?
Well, I
know how you feel, Mr. Phillips. But at a time like this...
You're right, Mr. Kent. I'll do it.
Do what?
Prove he's not Jones, of course. In the only way that'll convince you. Go ahead, Mr. Phillips.
Puzzled, Inspector Henderson and Lois Lane look at the thin, scholarly-looking choir leader. What does Clark Kent mean? How can Phillips prove he is not Mr. Jones? We'll return in a moment to find out. But first, here again is your announcer.
You know, the other day I was talking to a certain young lady who lives in our block, and she was telling me how she's going to knuckle down to collecting those swell comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pet. Of course, she's been collecting them right along, but now she's discovered that her brother is way ahead of her, so she's going to get busy. She has some duplicates that she wants to trade with some of her pals and add different buttons to her collection that way. And, of course, all new ones that she gets will be pinned right away with the others on her jacket. We were also talking about how smart-looking these buttons are, with their true-to-life pictures of favorite funny paper characters, like Smokey Stover and Herbie and handsome, powerful Superman himself. Now, maybe you'd better take a tip from that girl and get busy on your collection. Just ask Mom to get you a good supply of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pet. That's the easy way to get these comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. But inside the Pet package, there's your exciting prize. One of these brilliant comic buttons, or a military insignia or warplane button. Remember the name. It's P-E-P, Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
In the small music studio of Mr. Algernon Phillips, or is it Mr. Jones, Clark Kent has just challenged the choir leader to prove he is not the head of the criminal Crescent and Star gang, and Phillips has agreed.
You're right, Mr. Kent. Miss Lane's reputation and freedom are involved. Under the circumstances, my conscience will not permit me to protect Richard any longer.
Sounds like double talk to me. Just a moment, Inspector. All right, go on, Mr. Phillips. Tell him about the atomizer.
Yes, you see, Inspector, I purchased that first atomizer for my brother Richard.
You did?
Yes, I neglected to tell you that as the years went on, Richard became a fanatic about disease. He was deathly afraid of germs and infections. Christmas, I was passing the jewelry shop of Thayer & Son. I saw a beautiful atomizer in the window. It was made of lovely crystal encrusted with silver. The price was really more than I could afford, but I could not resist buying it for Richard.
You said he disappeared. How'd you expect to give it to him?
Well, on Christmas Eve each year, Richard telephones me. On a few occasions, he's even come to see me.
Really?
Yes. Richard was mad about the atomizer I bought him. For the first time since we were in college, I heard a kind word, a word of thanks from him. I did not hear from him last Christmas, but early this afternoon he phoned me. He was quite distracted. He said he had just broken his atomizer.
That's the one we found in the bookshop, Lois, where the Scarlet Widow was shot.
Oh, I'm beginning to get this now.
All right. Go on, Mr. Phillips.
My brother wanted to know where I'd bought the atomizer, the one that he'd broken. I told him that I'd get him another one, because I wanted to see him again. I told him I'd have it for him tonight, and because Miss Lane's office is near Thayer & Son, I asked her if she would pick it up for me.
Never mind that. What did your brother say?
He said he would either come for it himself tonight or send Tara.
There. You hear that, Inspector?
Yeah, it's okay if it's true. Who's Tara?
Tara's a Hindu boy who attached himself to my brother when he was in India several years ago. He's devoted to him.
I see. And your brother said either he or the Hindu boy would come here tonight, is that it?
Yes. Yes, he told me to be sure to be alone, and I promised that I would. I had no idea this terrible thing would come up, or that Richard could be a murderer.
Well, maybe this makes things a little different. That's Batman. Somebody's coming.
It's a boy wearing a turban. It must be Tara. He's coming up the walk.
Well, how do you know, Clark?
He's right. Now, look, Kent. You and Batman slip out the back way and around to the front of the house. I'll be on the back stairs with Miss Lane. You, Phillips, give the boy the atomizer and say nothing about us. You savvy? Okay, Batman. Go out the back door with Kent. Now, come on, Miss Lane, and move fast. And if this is a trick, lady, and you try anything, it'll be just too bad for you and your choir leader friend. That's the bell. Now, do your stuff, Phillips, and make good. Come on, everybody, out the back way. If this is on the level, we'll have Mr. Jones behind bars tonight.
Well, I'll do my best. I'm coming.
Hurriedly, Inspector Henderson, Clark Kent, Batman, and Lois leave the studio apartment by the back door as the bell rings again, announcing Mr. Jones' Hindu servant. Will he lead them to Mr. Jones, or is this a desperate trick? Tomorrow, an amazing thing happens, fellows and girls. Something beyond even Superman's and Batman's ability to cope with. So tune in then. Same time, same station, for the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday. Same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Say, gang, you'll get a bang out of this. Kellogg's Variety is back. That's the grand 10-package assortment of 6 swell Kellogg cereals. Makes breakfast more fun than a picnic. Makes it easy for Mom, too. No dishes to wash, thanks to the new Kell Bowl Pack. You can eat right out of it. What's more, these generous packages are great for lunch boxes and outings. So ask Mom to hurry and get Kellogg's Variety at the grocer's her very first chance. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Kellogg's Pep,
The super delicious cereal presents
the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, who is today hoping to find the mysterious Mr. Jones through his servant, Tara. We'll learn what happens in a moment. But right now, let's join Dan McCullough and his young pal Eddie, who seems to be kind of excited.
Say, Dan, did I tell you? I just added Harold Teen to my collection of comic buttons.
Did your mother open a new package of Kellogg's Pep?
No, not this time. This was a very complicated trade.
Yeah?
Yeah, Doris had a KO trade for Superman, and Pee-wee wanted to swap Lilims for Herbie. Then Bud came in. He had an extra Harold Teen, but he didn't...
Now, wait a minute, Eddie. That sounds like double talk. Would you say that again?
Well, Doris traded Pee-wee, a Superman, for a Lilims, and Bud said he'd swap Harold Teen if Pee-wee would give him the one that he...
Look, Eddie, would you take it easy?
Oh, okay, sure. Doris had a KO button and wanted one with Superman on it, right?
Right.
Pee-wee had Lilims and wanted Herbie, got it?
Got it.
Bud had an extra Harold Teen.
Yeah?
So Doris swapped her KO for Pee-wee's Lilims, and Bud traded Harold Teen for the Lilims Doris got from Pee-wee, and Doris traded me that Harold Teen for my Superman. You got it?
Yeah, I got it. Never mind, Eddie. We get the general idea anyway. We get the idea that there's a load of fun in collecting those swell comic buttons and trading duplicates with your pals. All the gang knows how slick-looking those comic buttons are, too, with their full-color, true-to-life pictures of favorite funny-sheet characters. What's more, it's no secret how easy it is to get these exciting comic buttons. You don't send in a single penny, not even a box stop. Just ask Mom to get you some of that super-delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Because inside every package, there's a snazzy prize. One of these swell comic buttons, or a military insignia or warplane button. That's P-E-P, Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
Convinced that a choir master who calls himself Algernon Phillips is in reality the mysterious Mr. Jones, an infamous criminal who had sworn to destroy Superman, and that Lois Lane is in league with him, Police Inspector Henderson ordered their arrest, despite Clark Kent's vehement protests. Phillips, while asserting his innocence, admitted he was Jones's twin brother and volunteered to help Kent and the inspector in their search for the missing man. He informed them that his brother, or a young Hindu servant, would call that evening for the atomizer he had purchased. Just then, Kent warned Henderson that a Hindu boy was approaching the building. As we continue now, the inspector and Lois Lane are hiding in the kitchen of Phillips' apartment, guarding the rear entrance, while Kent and Batman, who is helping him, wait across the street from the building, covering the front door. They huddle in a cold, dark alley as the swirling snow begins to pile high on the deserted street. Oh, boy. We certainly picked a fine night to play watchdogs, Kent. And the time that little Hindu comes out, I'll be an icicle.
Oh, go on. It isn't that cold.
Well, maybe not for you, my muscle-bound friend, but I'm positive my toes have cracked off. At least I can't feel them anymore.
Well, there's that much less of you to be cold.
What's going on in there, anyhow? Why is he taking so long? Put that X-ray vision of yours to work.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Phillips is handing the boy a package.
The atomizer?
Yes.
At last. Maybe now we can get moving again.
Well, Phillips is still questioning him.
He's still trying to find out where his brother is, I suppose.
I suppose so. Uh-oh.
What?
Boy's broken free. He's running down the stairs. He'll get away all right.
Good. Coming out the front door?
Uh-huh. There, he's opened it.
Oh, fine. Now at least I can see him, too.
Oh, stay back. Don't let him see us.
Oh, a cagey youngster. Look at him eyeing the whole street.
Uh-huh.
Think he's wise?
I hope not.
There he goes. Heading west of the avenue. Come on, it's our move.
No, wait. Henderson's coming out. He'll want to tag along.
Oh, look at him. Charging like a mad bull.
Kent! Batman! Where are you?
Coming, Inspector. Let's go before he wakes up the whole neighborhood.
Did you see it, Kent? He came out the front door. He has the atomizer.
Yes, we saw him. Where did he go? Oh, confound this snow. You can't see 5 feet in front of your nose. He went up the block that way.
Well, then what are we standing here for? Come on, we'll lose him.
Easy, Inspector, easy. You'll pull a fuse.
Wait a minute. Where's Lois?
I left her inside with Phillips. Now, come on. I'm not letting that Hindu out of my sight. Hey, where is he? If we've lost him...
Look, Inspector, I think it would be better if you stayed here.
Why?
Well, Batman and I can travel pretty fast.
I can travel fast, too, if I have to.
I know, but
and besides, if you think you're going to make a scoop of this for the benefit of your newspaper, well, you've got another thing coming. But
Better drop it, Kent. You'll get a chance later.
Okay.
Come on, now.
Right, Inspector.
Still seeing Kent?
Yes. About a block ahead of us. We'll keep this distance.
No. Close it up. I want to keep an eye on him myself.
Careful. We can't afford to make him suspicious. He's our only lead to Mr. Jones.
Maybe yes, maybe no. What makes you so sure Phillips isn't really Jones?
Well...
After all, we've only got his word on this twin brother story.
We've got his actions.
You mean giving the boy the atomizer? That could be a blind.
Yes, that's true. But did you notice him in the street tonight when we were walking to his apartment? He didn't wear a hat or a muffler. Jones wouldn't do that. He'd be wrapped up to the ears.
Yes.
Jones hates fresh air, and on a night like this, nothing would get him out of doors.
Found it. Where's that young Hindu? Can't see him at all.
We're right behind him, Inspector. Stop worrying.
Hey, how the devil can you see through this snow, Kent?
Huh?
Thicker than cotton. Well, we'll lose that Hindu boy.
He's only half a block ahead of us now. Oh, wait a minute.
What's the matter?
That isn't the boy.
What? Kent, what are you talking about?
I tell you, that isn't the Hindu boy.
Well, how do you know? I can't even see
Watch it, Kent.
Well, come on. Let's catch up to him.
This is the most idiotic business I have ever... Hey, wait, you two. Wait for me.
Step on it, Inspector.
You're going too fast.
He just ducked into that drugstore up the street. Come on, Batman.
Kent, are you sure about this? You're sure it isn't the Hindu?
Positive. You'll see in a minute.
Well, then where did the Hindu go?
I don't know.
Now, here's the drugstore.
Right.
There's the boy in the store. You have a soda fountain.
That's the one.
But it isn't the Hindu.
Well, I don't know about that. What about that box he's holding in his lap? The box Phillips gave him. The box for the atomizer.
Let's check it and be sure.
Are you crazy? You don't want him to know we're trailing him. He'll never lead us to Jones then.
But this may be a wild goose chase, Inspector. We've got to make sure. We can't let him go again.
I don't like this one bit.
I don't either. Come on.
Hey, you.
Huh?
Now, wait a minute, Inspector. Take it easy. Don't frighten him.
Look, son. Were you out on the street 2 minutes ago?
Yes, sir.
Did you come from the direction of Maple Avenue?
Yeah, I passed it, but...
It's all right, son. Don't be frightened. We won't hurt you. We just want some information.
Well, gosh, I...
What's in that box?
The box?
Yes, the box. What's in it?
Gosh, I don't know.
Huh?
Honest, mister, I don't know. Somebody just gave it to me.
Are you kidding? Come on, open up.
Wait, Inspector. When did you get the box, son? Who gave it to you?
Just a couple of minutes ago, out on the street, a boy walked up to me, handed me the box and $1, and asked me to wait in here with it.
Uh-huh. Would you recognize that boy if you saw him again?
Yeah, I guess so. He was about my size.
Did you notice anything unusual about him, son? His coloring?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. He was kind of dark. Looked almost like he was Chinese.
That's the Hindu, Kent.
Then why in heaven's name did he give the atomizer away?
He didn't. Do you mind if we open that box you're carrying, son?
I don't know. He told me to hold it
He
for
won't
him.
be back, son. You can be sure.
Come on. Hand it over.
All right. But honest, mister, I didn't do nothing wrong. He gave me $1.
It's all right, son. We believe you. Now, let's see here.
Come on, Kent. Open it.
I am.
Well?
Great jumping Jehoshaphat. It's empty. The atomizer's gone.
I didn't take nothing out. Honest.
No. We know that, son.
Listen, where did this fellow go? The one who gave you the box.
He ran across the street. Then I didn't see him no more.
You're sure you're telling us everything? You're not making this up?
No, I ain't. Please, you gotta believe me. I didn't do nothing wrong.
Now, come on, you.
Stop badgering the boy, Inspector. He's telling the truth.
And what about the Hindu? Where'd he disappear to?
Into thin air, evidently. Yes, and he was our only lead. Now Jones is in the clear. There's no way we can stop him from getting the kryptonite.
Is Kent right? Has the mysterious Mr. Jones given them the slip? We'll see in a moment, so stay with us. And now, here again is your announcer.
You know, gang, to look at those swell comic buttons you're all collecting, you'd never guess you can get them so easy in packages of Kellogg's Pep. Why, you don't have to spend a single penny of your allowance on them, and they're so doggone smart-looking that, well, you're mighty proud to wear them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. They're done up in full comic strip colors, brilliant red and blue and black on white enameled metal buttons that you'll have for a long time. And each picture is so true to life. Orphan Annie and Smitty and Superman look just the way they do in the funny papers. So, see how soon that you can collect all 18 comic buttons in the series. Just ask Mom to get you some of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal. That's all you do. You don't even send in a box top. But inside every package of Pep, there's an exciting prize. One of these bright-colored comic buttons or a military insignia or warplane button. It's your prize from P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
As Clark Kent, Batman, and Inspector Henderson returned to Phillips' home after losing track of the Hindu boy who was carrying the atomizer to the mysterious Mr. Jones, less than a mile away, in a quiet residential section of Metropolis, we find Jones himself, seated in a tightly closed room, illuminated by a single table lamp. The room is hot and stuffy, but the thin figure is wrapped in a heavy overcoat with a muffler wound about his throat and a gauze mask covering his mouth and nose. Suddenly, there is a knock on the door.
Who is it?
It is I, Master. Tara.
Come in, come in.
I have it, Master. I have the atom.
Wait, stop.
Yes, Master.
How many times have I told you never to come near me in the clothes you wear on the street?
I am sorry, Master.
Go back. Stand by the door. You carry deadly germs all over you.
Very well, Master. But I have the atom.
Yeah, give it to me.
Yes, Master.
No, don't come any closer. Throw it.
As you wish, Master.
Come.
Here you are, Master.
My dear brother. I knew he would not fail me. Sentimental fool.
You wish me to put the medicine in it, Master?
No, I'll do it. Now I shall banish these foul germs.
That will kill germs, Master?
Of course. Come here.
Yes, Master.
Stand still now.
What do you do, Master?
I'm sterilizing your clothing, stupid. Now, all right.
I am glad, Master.
Did my brother ask you any questions?
Yes, he wished to know where you were.
You didn't tell him?
No, Master. I did not say a word.
Good.
But I play trick in case anybody follow. I give box to boy I meet on street. Keep atomizer in pocket. Then go down in sewer. Walk underground to the street. As you tell me.
And what makes you think no one saw you give the box away?
Snow very thick. Hard to see.
All right. Now I feel well enough to go to work again.
Yes, Master. You wish to go out?
No, you are going out, Tara. You'll deliver a message for me.
Yes, Master.
Take that piece of paper on the desk. There's an address on it.
Yes, Master. This paper?
Yeah, that's it. Go to that address and see a man called the Laugher. Here, give him this coin.
The coin. It has the star and crescent.
Yes, that will be enough identification. Tell the Laugher I want to see him right away.
That is all, Master?
All for him, yes. But not all for us. Before I am through, Tara, Superman will be our plaything.
His deep-set eyes gleaming coldly from his thin, almost skull-like face, the mysterious Mr. Jones utters a dangerous threat. Why is he so anxious to control Superman? And how does he plan to do it? Another Atom Man or some other form of atomic master? We'll learn more tomorrow, so don't fail to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday. Same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Say, gang, here's some razzle-dazzle news to flash to Mom. Kellogg's Variety is back. So now, everybody at the breakfast table can have the Kellogg's cereal he likes best. Because Kellogg's Variety is that grand variety carton holding 10 generous packages of 6 favorite Kellogg's cereals. Are they delicious? And does Kellogg's Variety make breakfast fun? Why, it's better than a grab bag because you get what you really want. Today, ask Mom to get Kellogg's Variety, the package that makes breakfast a picnic. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcast.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape. Designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to the English Channel in wartime and to a harrowing night, crossing those gray, cold waters in a small boat with the threat of instant death in command, as David Devine tells it in his exciting story, Flood on the Goodwin.
Is that one?
Where?
Off to starboard.
No, it's a mattress.
Blasted fog. Couldn't see the living, let alone the dead.
I don't think we'll be finding any more.
Not the way the fog is settling down now. Where do you figure the patrol boat is?
She ought to be about a couple of 100 yards to port. Take it easy now, Uncle. Don't want to ram her.
Don't you worry about me, Dundas. Just you start singing out.
Patrol boat ahoy! Patrol boat ahoy! Ahoy! Who are you? Captain Matt of the Mary G.
They sound to be dead ahead, Mac. Better cut it back. Oh, I see her.
They've come about it.
We're coming around your stern.
Get any more?
Yes, 3. Watch out for those dinghies.
I see them.
They're ahead there. 3 more coming aboard. Any alive?
No, all 3 are drowned.
Come on, Mac. Let's get them up there.
Don't you bother, Dundas. Here! You send down a couple of men.
Sure.
My mate here, he's only got 1 flipper.
Oh, now, look, Mac, that doesn't make any difference.
What's the matter? You ashamed of it?
Oh, no, but...
Forward there, men.
Forward, right.
I can swing my load like any man.
Be sure I get my top back.
Right.
Don't let it get you, boy. There's lots of amputees working these days.
Amputee? Look, must you use that expression?
Amputee is what you call a one-armed man. Amputee. What's wrong with it? Better than what you call those things they're hoisting there.
Amputee. I hate that word.
Bloaters, you call them. Man's been floating around dead in the water. He gets bloated, see? Bloated.
Very pretty. You know what you call a gabby old goat like you?
Never mind now. Never mind.
That's the buck.
How many been brought in to you so far?
Counting your 3, that makes 30.
30? You don't say.
Lucky we got this fog. Without it, we'd be sitting ducks for any Stokers or Messerschmitts that might be about.
Or U-boats.
Or U-boats. That's right.
Was it a U-boat sent you down?
No, man they brought in an hour ago, he said it was a time bomb.
Sabotage.
Yes. Went off in the forward hold. Boom, bubble, bubble, bubble.
Boom, bubble, bubble. You hear that, Dundas?
I heard.
My nephew. Lost his flipper in the RAF. Taking it real hard.
Oh, you shouldn't take it off.
No, who says I shouldn't?
No, don't get sore, laddie. I'm just trying to cheer you, don't you know?
Yes, well, cheer me by getting your feet off this boat so we can shove off.
Sure, laddie, sure.
Casting off.
Going back to Dover?
Might as well. Fog's in for the night. We'll just make it by dark.
Hello. Cheerio.
Cheerio. You didn't have to bite his head off.
Lay off me, Mac.
It didn't mean any harm.
I said lay off, Mac. Lay off.
All right.
30 of them.
So that's what's eating you.
Oh, Sabbath, sir. Can you imagine doing a thing like that? Can you see a man doing it?
Well, it's war, you know.
War. Fighting is war.
They didn't all drown.
No, only 29 of them. Didn't they say one was alive?
Yes.
It must be awful to drown. An awful way to die.
Wonder if it'll clear tomorrow.
Wharf up ahead.
Yes. Good navigating, Dundas.
Ought to be right ahead of us. Mary? We're coming in, dear. Dead ahead, Mac.
Right.
There, I'll jump it.
Hello, you two.
Hello, Mary.
Hello.
How was it, Uncle Mac?
Terrible, dear. Yes, terrible.
Were there many?
30.
Oh, dear.
That's it.
Mac, how's the fuel?
Ample. We didn't use a quarter of it.
Are you going to fish tonight?
Ask Mac. It's his boat.
Fishing tonight, Uncle Mac?
In this fog? I should say not.
Dundas can navigate for you in the water. They say it's as calm as a bathtub.
Well, I don't know.
I brought you food in case you're going out again.
I don't know. I think that husband of yours needs some sleep.
Huh? Are you going to start again?
What's wrong?
All day long he's complaining like an old woman. Just because he's had the bad luck to lose his fin.
Fin flipper. Why can't you say arm?
See what I mean?
Do you know you are a little rough about it, Uncle Mac?
What ought I do? Help him feel sorry for himself?
Oh, cut it, both of you.
There was a man to see you, Uncle Mac.
Who?
We didn't say. He said he'd drop back.
Oh. What did he look like?
Very tall, distinguished looking.
Who's that, Mac?
Got me. Tall, you say?
Mm-hmm. And carrying a little briefcase.
Come for the payments on the boat, Mac.
No. Would this be him?
Oh, yes. You're back. Just in time to catch them.
Good, very good.
You were looking for me?
Yes. Yes, you're Captain Mac.
That's right.
And who is this?
Mr. Dundas, my nephew.
The husband of this lady.
Look, mister, who are you and what do you want?
Very simple. Must forgive my questioning. When one is engaged in my work, one can't be too careful.
Your work?
Intelligence.
What's that got to do with us?
I want to charter your boat for a trip.
Oh, government work, eh?
Yes. A secret mission.
Where is it you want to go?
To Ostend. Tonight.
Belgium. That's a fair haul. There's a U-boat.
The fog will cover you.
What do you pay?
The Crown provides handsomely in these cases. £100.
Get on.
Wait a minute, Mac.
Huh?
Mind showing us your credentials, mister?
I shouldn't mind at all, fellow. Fact is, I'm not carrying any.
You're not, huh?
This isn't what you'd call a casual visit, you know.
Oh, use your head, Dundas. He's going where the Nazis are.
No credentials. And would you mind explaining why you're sniffing around a little fishing boat like this, when you could cross in one of those big, fast torpedo boats they got over at the yard?
I find this man insufferable, Captain. Now, what do you say? Time's growing short.
Why don't you take the torpedo boat? Or the sweeper. They got sweepers there, too, you know.
As a matter of fact, and you should be able to understand, those are government boats. Might be seen by one of the enemy shore stations.
In this fog? You're a liar, mister.
And you are a very astute fellow. Into the boats, all of you?
A gun!
Yes, my ticket to Ostend.
Put that thing down.
Look out, Mac. He's serious.
Indeed I am. Now, in.
Do what he says, man.
Start your motor.
Make me.
Shall I?
Start it, Mac. This is crazy.
Joe, untie the ropes. You, miss, sit up there.
You don't stand a chance.
We shall see. I'll sit up front with the lady.
Front? You don't know much about boats, do you?
No, and I shan't pretend to.
Uh-huh.
Listen, mister. The harbor entrance is closed up. They got the submarine nets in there.
I happen to know they're open until 8. I'd better warn you, no tricks. I'm very good with a gun.
You are, eh? Dundas. He says he's very good.
Shut up. Let's go.
So, you're a Nazi.
That's right.
You talk like an Englishman.
Oh, really?
A Nazi. What are you, a spy?
You could say that.
What are you going back to the continent for? The war's not over.
What time do you think we'll hit the Belgian coast?
Around 2. You didn't answer my question.
What was that?
Why are you leaving England? Scared?
If you like. As a matter of fact, I'm returning because I've completed my mission.
And what was that?
Matter of a bomb.
Sabotage?
Naturally.
That ship. The one that went down off the coast. Was that your work?
Yes. I planted the bomb in the hold this morning before she sailed from Dover.
Stinking, filthy, bloody...
Hold it, Mac. Hold it.
Don't let him curse. I find him an amusing old gaffer.
30 men drowned because of you.
30? Dear me. There were 45 aboard, you know.
It was 29, Mac.
29, 30. What does it matter? This big, skinny Nazi that's sneaked in the dark with his mission completed.
As a matter of fact, we were only joking, mister. Nobody was drowned.
What are you talking about? 29?
Your sense of security is a little delayed. One arm.
Don't you call me one arm.
Oh, sorry.
What's the time, Dundas?
Quarter of.
Ought to be passing Goodwin Sands.
Tide will be over them now.
What time do they expose this time of year?
Low tide's at 1.
That means we get a fast ride back anyhow.
If he lets us come back.
Lousy Nazi. How do we know you won't kill us when we let you off?
You have my word.
Yeah.
Oh, don't take on, dear.
I can't help it. I'm fighting.
Let her come back here with us.
No.
See how tough he is? Shoots women.
If necessary.
I'd like to see you get that close to me.
Would you?
Yes. Look, Nazi. I'm walking toward you.
Matt, don't. You're asking for it, you know.
Bloody Nazi pig.
Don't take another step, Captain.
Look, man! Bloody pig!
I'll go back.
He can't hear you, girl. Don't slow down, one arm.
I want to get him.
He's dead. He's very dead.
He was a good man. He deserves burial.
And burial he's got. I'll push your throttle back up.
No.
Your wife is next, one arm.
Thunder.
That's better. And now, we continue our little voyage.
In just a moment, we will return to Escape. But first, a show that brings laughter to millions week after week. That's something to be proud of. A show that wins a top award in critical competition. That's something to be proud of, too. And when a show comes along that does both, CBS proudly passes it along to you. You hear it exclusively now on most of these same CBS stations. You Bet Your Life, starring Groucho Marx. And there's the Bing Crosby Show, Burns and Allen, Lum and Abner. There's the unbeatable lineup CBS has for you every Wednesday night. This fall, you hear them all on CBS. And now back to Escape and the second act of Blood on the Goodwins.
How much longer, Dundas?
About an hour.
I notice you've changed course from time to time. Why is that?
The channel current. You ride with it, you make better time.
I see. And you'd like to be rid of my company as quickly as possible.
That's right.
I'm glad you're being reasonable. The old man was a fool.
You think so, eh?
Of course, and so do you.
Why do you say that?
You've seen the war. You know how it is.
That's right, I know how it is.
Sanders, don't talk like that.
Why? What's wrong, Mary?
Don't talk with him. It killed Uncle Mac. Not right to talk to him.
Well, we find each other very interesting, Mary. Don't we?
Oh, yes, indeed. Tell me, how did you lose your arm?
RAF. I was a navigator.
A very good one, I imagine.
Yes.
Did it, happen over England?
No, Bremen.
Bremen. I see. You chaps did a very thorough job at Bremen.
Yes.
You ought to be complimented.
Thank you.
Sanders.
Relax, Mary, relax.
Oh.
You must understand, Mary.
What?
May I call you Mary? You must understand it's a very extraordinary thing for the soldiers of warring nations to get together for a chat like this.
Take a nap, Mary.
Take a nap?
Yes, why don't you? Here. You can pull this tarpaulin over.
No, not that.
What?
It's got blood on it, that tarpaulin.
Blood? But really, the old man was over there, don't you
Not
see?
from him.
Oh?
We spent the day picking up after you.
I see. And you used the tarpaulin for the bodies?
Yes.
Well, then, Mary. Of course, we mustn't use that.
Please. May I go back to where my husband is?
No, you may not.
Why? Why can't
I'll tell you why you may not. You two are desperate, despite your husband's conversational manner. I should like to avoid the possibility of your rushing me.
You see how it is, Mary?
I'm sure she understands.
Just be very quiet, Mary. Everything will be all right.
Of course, a lot depends on you, Dennis.
Why do you say that?
Don't you know what I'm talking about?
Why, no.
That wrench you picked up about 15 minutes ago. It's right behind you on the ledge.
Thwart.
Thwart, then. It's right behind you on the thwart. Do you mind dropping it overboard like a good fellow?
Oh, that'd be a foolish waste. Wartime, you know. Wrenches are hard to come by.
Yes, I'm sure. Then why not slide it over here?
All right.
Huh? Slide it. Even if you could hit me accurately enough to disable me, the gun would go off and... You know?
I know. Here.
Thank you, Dennis. Now then, where were we?
Soldiers from warring nations.
Oh, yes. Remarkable meeting. Gives us a chance to refresh ourselves on what it is we're fighting about.
Sanders is fighting men who sabotage ships.
Was, you mean, don't you?
Well,
Was. Now I fight nothing.
I envy you. Unfortunately, I am still able. So, Miss, carry on.
And I find it a little difficult to... Oh, excuse me.
What's wrong?
Navigation. I have to check my course.
Oh, by all means. What course are you steering?
Why don't you come and look?
No, I don't think I'd better.
Why not?
You might have another wrench there. Or perhaps you'll try to take my gun. Which case I'd have to shoot. Have to kill you. Then where would I be? I might steer all the way back to Dover without knowing it.
That's so.
And then I should have to kill your wife so she wouldn't inform. You see how it is.
How do you know I'm not tricking you?
Oh, I'm sure you're not. If we don't arrive by 3, I'm going to kill her anyway. Then, if you should continue to be stubborn, there are ways of forcing you.
You mean torture?
Ordinarily, it's very difficult to do alone. But in your case, one-armed, it should be comparatively simple.
Well, let's not waste words on all that. I'm taking you where you want to go. And I'm counting on you to keep your word to allow a safe departure.
Well, of course.
I don't believe in Dundas.
But why? Why not?
Because you're what you are. And because Dundas might know something your people want to find out. Dundas, don't you see that they'll torture you? He's lying, Dundas.
Please, Mary, please, don't worry.
You have my word. My sacred words. On my honor. As a gentleman.
You see, Mary? We have nothing to worry about.
Yes, it must be wonderful to be out of the fighting.
Not bad.
I'll be glad when it's over.
Think it'll be over soon?
Quite. You've heard of our buzz bombs.
Yes.
That's only the beginning. We're developing weapons 1,000 times as terrible. 10,000 times as effective.
Really? Tell me about them.
Your wife seems to have gone to sleep.
Where? Can't see very well in this dark.
Against my knee.
Good. About your new weapons. You were saying 10,000 times as terrible.
Yes, there are rockets, the like of which the English have not dreamed. Rockets that can travel 100 miles, 300. No one knows what their limitations will be. Radio controlled. Speed about 30,000 miles an hour. Altitude, 60 miles. And what they will carry, I leave to your imagination.
Why leave it to my imagination?
What?
You wouldn't tell me all this highly secret business if it were your intention to allow us safe departure now, would you?
I'm sure your agents know this by now.
I don't know. But something tells me you've come to a decision about us.
How much longer until we hit shore?
Not long now. I'm bringing her into a deserted beach a few miles outside of Ostend.
I see.
If you look ahead, you may see the shoreline soon.
Straight ahead?
Yes.
It's impossible. This fog is too much. What?
I've got it, Dundas.
Give me that gun, you...
Here, Dundas.
Good work, Mary. Stand back, fella. That's it. Now raise them good and high.
Oh, Dundas, I thought he'd never drop his wrists. I waited and waited.
Here, Mary. Take the wheel. Hold that course.
Yes, Dundas.
Well.
It's a remarkable woman, your wife.
Yes, indeed.
Unfortunately, there's no cartridge in the chamber.
Well, it's pointed at your gut. Why don't I pull the trigger and see if you're telling the truth?
Perhaps you'd better not.
I don't see why not, if it's empty.
No, it's loaded.
Huh?
You, I wonder if you're the type who can kill the man he's facing.
I don't know. I've never done it.
It's very difficult, you know. Just think of me as a fellow human being, flesh and blood like yourself. Think of the infinite genius that went into making this body of mine. Skin, muscles, arteries, veins, organs, vessels in the blood. The blood. Murder is a very difficult thing when you're face to face with the murdered.
I know. I don't feel as though I could kill you right at this minute. But suppose I try. All I have to do is squeeze the trigger ever so little.
Wait. No, don't.
Why not?
My life is worth a lot to me. More, believe it or not, than my pride, my honor, my love of Germany. Oh, much, much more than that.
All right, have you a proposition?
Dundas.
Be still, Mary. I know what I'm doing.
Yes, you keep out of this.
What's your proposition?
Money. You're going to need money, aren't you? A one-arm has a tough time of it in peacetime. Jobs are hard to get.
Go on.
I have several accounts in London banks. Big accounts. I can write you a check. You can cash it tomorrow.
How much?
£1,000.
I can't hear you.
Dundas, don't do this.
2,000. 3. 5 then, and that's all the money I have in the world.
What about on you?
Yes, in the briefcase. £150. I'll
Don't move.
But the briefcase...
I'll take care of that after you leave. Write the check for £5,000.
Oh, Dundas, please. Please don't do it.
Your wife doesn't understand these things.
No. This is the way of the world, dear.
Dundas.
And for this, I let you off at the beach. Of course, I want to warn you against mentioning my name.
But of course... Here's your check.
Thank you.
Aren't you going to shoot me now?
No. Bargain's a bargain. I'll follow through.
Why, you are an honest man.
Deal's a deal.
Yes, that's right.
I'd better take the wheel.
Shall I take the gun, Dundas?
No.
Please, Dundas, please, let me hold it.
No, Mary.
Well, why in the name of heaven can't I? You can't steer and cover him at the same time, not with one hand.
If you take the gun, you'll shoot him, Mary. I know you.
Oh, no, I wouldn't.
Yes, you would. And that'd be dishonest, Mary. We've made a deal, this man and I.
Yes, an honorable deal.
How to steer and all, that does pose a problem. Mary, Bring me that big wrench.
All right, Dundas.
What are you going to do?
Since I can't handle the wheel and the gun, and since Mary's not to be trusted, I'll keep the wrench for just in case. And solve the gun problem very simply.
Dundas, you fool!
And you, sir? You'll find a fishing line with lead on the end of it right up there in the front locker.
What?
I'm going to slow down now. We're almost there. You'll do the sounding for me.
Yes. Yes, of course.
You deliberately threw that gun overboard. You're selling out.
5,000 pounds, dear. As the Yanks put it, that ain't hay.
I have the line.
All right, throw it ahead of you. Then feel when it touches bottom. Then measure the depth by your spread arms.
Here it goes.
Oh, Dundas, darling, I know the war's a shock to you losing your arm and all, but don't do this. You'll regret it. You'll regret it all the rest of your days.
Hit bottom.
How deep?
2, 3, 4, 5. 5, that's all.
All right, we're closing in on the coast. Swing again.
Right.
We'll hear the surf in a minute now. It'll not be very strong. It's low tide, you know.
2, 3 and a half.
All right, get ready to jump.
Jump?
Now, this boat hasn't got wheels. You'll have to walk the last 10 feet in.
All right.
Get ready. Here we are. The minute you feel a scrape bottom, jump out and push the bow around.
Right.
Dundas.
Here I go.
Good night.
Good night, sucker.
Why, sucker?
That check. The bank is short of funds to the name I signed.
Oh, really? On the beach?
Yes, I'm on it.
Take a few steps.
Why?
You'll see.
It stops. There's water beyond.
The bank is short of funds. That beach is short of sand.
Where am I?
You're on Goodwin Sands. Dover's just 6 miles that way.
Which way?
I didn't say. And if you're thinking of swimming, I can tell you, you don't stand a chance.
You thief! You mother of murderer!
It's low tide now, but wait a while. In a few hours, it'll be 10 feet over your head. Drowning's not pleasant, Nazi. If you had your gun, you could shoot yourself. You could hang yourself with your belt, but there are no trees. So think about those men you drowned today. Think about them while you wait. I may be around to pick up your body soon. Maybe. Good night, Bloater!
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Blood on the Goodwins by David Devine, adapted for radio by James Poe. Featured in the cast were Jack Edwards as Dundas, Will Gear as Uncle Mac, and Barton Yarborough as the Nazi. Also heard were Betty Lou Gerson and Eric Snowden. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week.
You are high in the mountains of Peru, digging frantically for a vast fortune in gold and Inca relics. Upon your success hangs the fate of a beautiful woman and your own life.
Next week we escape with a thrilling tale of one of the most murderous treasure hunts ever made, as David Dodge tells it in his exciting story, Plunder of the Sun. Goodbye, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. A fellow named Bob Hope will turn up on the Bing Crosby Show this Wednesday night, so don't say we didn't alert you for the show of the week. This verbal tennis match between Bing and Bob will be broadcast on most of these same CBS stations, along with the Groucho Marx Show, Burns and Allen, and Lum and Abner, all Wednesday night CBS features.
Tune in this fall for the shows that you love best of all.
Listen carefully.
Here's the address. It's CBS.
Stay tuned now for Life with Luigi, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to the high mountains of Peru and the hunt for a fabulous treasure of ancient Inca relics for which men are willing to die and to kill, as David Dodge tells it in his exciting novel, Plunder of the Sun. Living the way I do by my wits, you get into all kinds of risky deals, but I had no idea when I took Senor Berrien's little job that it would lead me to terrible danger, to a beautiful woman, and to a fabulous buried treasure of the Incas. I didn't have to take the job, but you see, there was Ana Luz. She was Senor Berrien's nurse, pushed him around in his wheelchair, gave him his heart medicine, and so on. I first saw her that day when we all met in the park at Valparaiso. Here, let me brush that bench off for you first, Senorita. It's pretty dirty, I'm afraid.
Gracias, senor.
Not at all.
You are simpático, senor.
Senor Colby.
Right, Senor Berrien. Now, what can I do for you?
I am told that you are a capable man. One who can be persuaded sometimes to take on a delicate assignment.
Is it legal?
Senor Colby, I am a reputable businessman. There are, however, complications.
For instance?
For instance, I am going by boat back to my home in Peru. I wish to take along a small package. But this package contains an ancient Peruvian relic of great historical value. Peruvian law prohibits the export of such things. But this was smuggled out of Peru. I have come to Chile and recovered it, and I wish to return it to its rightful place in Peru. Unfortunately, however, Chilean law also prohibits its removal, and so...
So you want me to smuggle it for you?
Smuggle? Well, not exactly, but you see, I cannot carry it. I am too well known as a collector of such things. I will be thoroughly searched. However, you will be American tourists. You see, you would be performing a service to my country.
Hey, put it nicely, senor, but it's still smuggling if I'm caught.
I shall pay you 1,000 American dollars.
Oh? You will pay, not the government.
I am a collector and an archaeologist. My name will be forever connected with the recovery of this relic. That is what matters to me.
Well, I could see a lot of Peru on $1,000. Especially if I had someone to show me around. Will the senorita be coming along?
Si, of course. And most grateful to you.
All right. I'll do it. The worst part of the boat trip was that I wasn't supposed to be seen with Berrien or Ana Luz. The first day out, I was standing at the rail talking to one of the passengers, another American, as they came along.
Yeah, it's a nice country. Lots to see in South America. Have you been to the Inca ruins in Cusco?
No, I haven't gotten up that far yet.
Oh, well, you'll find it... Oh, pardon me. Well, buenos dias, Don Alfredo.
Yeah. Buenos dias, senor.
You're in good health, I trust?
Si, gracias.
And how are you, Ana Luz?
I'm very well, Senor Jefferson. Gracias.
Good. I hope to see you later, perhaps.
Hasta luego, senor.
Oh, sure. Hasta luego, Don Alfredo.
Your friend seems surprised to see you here.
Surprised? He almost had another heart attack, the old robber.
Interesting-looking man. Who is he?
Name's Berrien, Peruvian dealer in antiques.
Oh, and the girl?
Oh, his nurse.
Even more interesting.
Yes, isn't she?
Tell me, are you perhaps also a dealer in antiques?
Me? I'm just a tourist, like you.
That was the first hint of trouble. When Berrien saw this tourist, Jefferson, his face had gone white with fear, and I knew I better keep a close eye on the man.
On our last night out, trouble came. I'd been playing poker with Jefferson and some of the passengers in the smoking room. When Jefferson left, I got out of the game as soon as I could and went to my cabin. Just as I turned into the corridor, I saw a dark figure hurrying away from my door. I went into my cabin and looked around. Everything seemed all right until I noticed the catch on my suitcase had been opened. Then I knew that hurrying figure couldn't have been Jefferson. He was too tall, and only one person knew I had the package. I went out into the corridor. There was a light on in her cabin, and I entered without knocking.
Oh, Senor Colby, what do you want?
Ready for bed, senorita? Bathrobe, slippers? What do you have on under that?
Senor Colby.
Let me see.
Mr. Dopey.
Just as I thought, senorita. Why are you fully dressed under your robe?
That is none of your business.
I think it is. It was a waste of time, senorita. I carry the package on me.
Oh, senor.
Now suppose we go next door to Berean's cabin and tell him you're not as trustworthy as he thought.
Oh, you don't...
That you're trying to get the package, too. We'll let him find out why. All right, come on.
He's asleep.
We'll wake him up.
You cannot. I have given him sleeping pills.
We'll see. Come on.
Take your hands off me. Let me go. Wait.
Huh?
That was Senor Berean's little bear. Beside his bed. There's something wrong.
Now listen,
Let me go. I must go to him.
All right, we'll go together. Where's the light? Something hit me in the jaw, and I went down hard. Somebody rushed past me and out into the corridor.
Senor Colby. Senor Colby. Hurry, turn on the light.
Huh?
By the door. Something is wrong.
All right. Wait a minute.
Don Alfredo. Don Alfredo.
Yeah. Something's wrong, all right. He's dead.
We shall return to Escape in a moment. But first, ladies, you can get a haircut every afternoon without going to the barber. There's music, there's fun, there's a surprise a minute with this haircut whose name is Gary Moore. Yes, Gary has his own daytime show now on CBS exclusively. A full hour every weekday, Monday through Friday, on most of these same CBS stations. So ladies, men too, choose your chair and get that haircut right away. And now we return to Escape.
Don Alfredo Berean was dead of a heart attack, or so the authorities in Callao said. I wasn't so sure they were right, but they seemed to want as little trouble as possible. All I wanted then was my $1,000. But it looked like I was holding the bag unless I could find out what the package was and turn it into money. As soon as I was alone in my hotel room, I unwrapped it. All it contained was a tangle of little colored strings and a page of old manuscript in a language I didn't know. I could make nothing of it, so I took it to the curator of the Callao Museum.
Very interesting, very. Where did you get it?
From a friend. What is it?
A tepu. An Inca message cord. A beauty.
Yeah, what's the message?
It is not exactly a message, senor, just a reminder of a story already known to the teller. Like tying a string around your finger for a reminder. Was there no manuscript with it?
Perhaps.
Aha. Then the manuscript will tell the story.
Look, can you translate it for me?
Unfortunately, I do not know the language of the Incas.
Well, could you recommend anybody?
The best is Don Alfredo Berean.
No good, he's dead.
What? Don Alfredo dead?
This morning, of a heart attack on the boat from Chile.
Oh, a pity. He was a fine man. Now, I don't know. Perhaps Senor Najarro could do it, but I strongly advise you to turn it over to the museum. Under Peruvian law, it belongs to the government. Should you try to exploit it, you might get into serious trouble.
Thanks, I'll remember that. When I got back to the hotel, Anna Luce was waiting for me in the lobby.
Oh, Senor Colby.
Oh, Anna Luce. You come to show me the town?
I have come for the package. You may give it to me now.
Why, you was there?
I was the closest to him.
No, it's not good enough, Senorita. He obviously didn't mean for you to have it, or you wouldn't have tried to steal it from me.
Well, I must have it. For me, it is a kind of ransom. With it, I may buy my freedom.
Your freedom? From what?
From slavery, senor. Here in Peru, we have a kind of slavery. My family was too poor to care for me, so they gave me to a rich family as a servant. I am therefore the possessor of my patron, who raised me. With this package, I can repay my debt to him and thus be free.
But if Berean was your patron, it would seem that...
He was not my patron.
Who then?
I cannot tell. Oh, please, senor. Please, you said that you would like to be my friend. Perhaps, somehow, that could be.
Look, Anna Luce, I want to help you if I can.
Well, then
but I can't give you the package. I have to play the game my way. I'm sorry, Anna Luce. Very sorry. Suddenly, she was dead-looking and walked away from me. I knew she wasn't lying, that it was terribly important to her. Well, I supposed I'd lost her now, and I went up to my room feeling pretty miserable about it. The minute I opened the door, I knew something was wrong, but too late. Everything went black. When I came to, I was trussed up on the bed, tied hand and foot, and Jefferson was standing over me, the package in his hand, grinning.
You were pretty easy, chum. Didn't even muss my hair.
Oh. Hello, tourist. So you got it, huh? It was you in Berean's cabin, of course.
Of course.
Now I owe you 2 good socks. Not to mention something for Berean's murder and the loss of my commission.
I didn't kill him. He was dead when I got there.
So you say.
So I say. Anyway, now you can forget it, chum. You're all finished with this little party.
That's what he thought then. And as he left, I was wondering how he'd feel when he unwrapped the package and found it full of old newspaper clippings. After I got untied, I went down and got the manuscript out of the hotel safe. Took it to a photography shop and had 3 blow-up prints made of it. One of these I cut up word by word and separated the words into 3 piles. One pile I took along when I went out to look up Senor Najarro. He turned out to be an old crow of a man, bald and harmless looking, but sharp.
See, very interesting. These words are cut from a photograph of a manuscript, and you want me to translate them? That is hard, senor. They are out of context. It would be much easier if I could use the original or another photograph.
No, we'll do it this way.
Oh, senor, you do not trust me.
I don't trust anybody until I see what it is. Do you want the job?
Oh, it's not a job, senor. It's a pleasure. You see, I am interested. This kind of thing is my life.
How soon will you have these?
You come back this evening, eh? This evening, senor.
I went back to the hotel and put the original manuscript and 1 copy into the hotel safe. Then when I turned around, I saw Anna Luce standing across the lobby watching me. I started toward her, but she turned and almost ran out of the hotel. Seeing her run from me like that hurt. But I had to go through with it. And had a feeling that it was mostly for her that I was doing it. And to kill time till I could go back to Najarro's, I bought a copy of Prescott's book, The Conquest of Peru, hoping to read up on the Incas and perhaps find a clue to the manuscript. As it turned out, that was unnecessary, because while I sat there in the hotel patio, I had a visitor.
Hello, chum.
Well, Jefferson, what's new in the papers?
You're smarter than I thought. Smart enough not to have it on you, then or now, huh? Maybe we better be partners.
Partners?
Yeah, you've got the package. I know what it means.
I'll know what it means, too, very shortly.
You didn't give it to Najarro?
What do you know about him?
He's the only logical one. And he'd give his soul to get his hands on that manuscript. He's worse than Berean, you fool.
Don't worry, he hasn't got it and he won't get it. He's merely translating isolated words.
Hey, you are smart, aren't you? But even that may be dangerous. We've got to beat him to it.
To what?
To millions, literally millions in gold. Lost Inca treasure. You can read about it in that book you have there, how they had so much gold they paved the streets with it. How they hid it away, buried it when their empire fell to the Spaniards. It's all there. And the manuscript you have gives the exact directions on how to find one part of it. A part that's sure to be worth $1 million at present values.
No wonder everyone's after it.
Now, look, there's no time to waste. Give me the manuscript. I can translate it.
You're a man of many accomplishments.
I've been an archaeologist. Never mind that. I can translate it. If we're going to be partners.
I'll think it over. So, I had in my hands and the key to the lost treasure of the sun, a fabulous cache of small, solid gold statues from the palaces of the great Incas. Oh, it was a little breathtaking, and I was still in the clouds when I went back to Najarro's that night. It was very pleasant. He gave me the translations, took the second batch of words. I paid him with a traveler's check because he wanted American dollars. Then he entertained me a while, showing me some of his Inca relics. Well, an hour passed before I could break away and get back to the hotel. I went to the desk to get the manuscript so I could start working on the translation. But when I asked for it...
Why, Senor Colby, did you not get your package?
What do you mean?
We gave it to your messenger, the young lady, not an hour ago.
My messenger?
See? Just as you instructed in this note. That is your signature, is it not?
Yes. Yes, it is. Now, at last, I had it figured. A girl. Anna Luce, of course. She'd seen me put the manuscript in the safe. But the signature... It was my signature. Or rather, a reasonable facsimile, a clever tracing. Who could have done it? What had I signed recently? And then I remembered. The traveler's check at Najarro's. He'd asked for it, American dollars. And suddenly I knew the truth. Anna Luce in Najarro. He was her patron. It was for him all that time that she'd been trying to get it. And they'd beaten me. Only not quite. I still had up in my hotel room between the pages of Prescott's book the third print of the manuscript. And they didn't know about that. I hurried up and got it, and then I went to Jefferson's room.
Yeah? Who is...
That makes us even, Jefferson. Now we're partners. So get up and get to work on this print. Come on.
I'll fix you later, chum. Right now, what changed your mind?
Najarro got the original. We'll have to work fast. The treasure will be at Cusco, won't it?
Sure. The old Inca capital. Or near there.
Then while you're working, I'll get the tickets to Cusco. We'll leave on the first train. We rode all night on the mountain train to Cusco, and Jefferson sat there in the swaying coach translating. By morning, we had it. The directions to $1 million in gold, maybe more. In Cusco, we obtained burros and supplies and an Indian guide named Tasho. And by sundown, we were in the shadows of the tremendous, brooding ruins of the Inca palace. Even in ruins, it was something you'd never forget. And I got the eerie feeling that the dead Incas were watching us with hate in their eyes. Then Tasho started pacing out the directions from the manuscript, striking down the hill, out across the valley. We followed with equipment. We were looking for a certain stone. At first, we couldn't find it.
An egg-shaped boulder by the side of the stream, it said. There's no stream here.
Yeah. Wait a minute. That was centuries ago. Maybe since then it was made into one of these irrigation ditches. Let's look at that one over there.
Maybe you're right. Come on.
We finally found the boulder half buried in the hillside. Then it took us most of the night to dig around it, loosen it, and finally topple it over. It was just dawn when we got down to the last perfectly fitted stone.
Hurry up. The minute it gets light, this place will be swarming with Indians coming out to work the fields.
Okay, this is the last. Have Tasho lend a hand, will you?
Right. Come on, Tasho. Easy now. There. Good Lord. Look at that. Just feast your eyes on that.
Solid gold. And look at the beautiful carving. These are magnificent, priceless pieces.
Not priceless, chum. They'll bring a very pretty price when they're melted down to bullion.
Oh, no, you couldn't destroy works of art like this.
No? Come on, let's load them up.
We had to hurry loading the small but heavy gold statues on Tasho's burros because it was fast getting light. Once some Indians passed not 50 yards from us, but they didn't see us. We were at last finished, and suddenly Jefferson turned to me.
Okay, chum. So long.
Huh? What's the idea of the gun, Jefferson?
Just for you, chum. You've got a stronger heart than Berean. I'll have to shoot you.
So you did kill Berean?
Just scared him to death. Stuck the gun in his face. Ready now? Say goodbye, chum.
It seemed like I was in a dream. I lay dreaming for an endless time. Faces came and went. I thought I saw Anna Luce, and she gave me a drink of water. And then later, much later, I woke up and saw her again.
Senor Colby, can you hear me?
Then I knew it was no longer a dream. She was real. And behind her stood Naharo.
Senor Colby.
Hello, Anna Luce. How'd you get here? Wherever it is.
You are in Senor Naharo's suite at the hotel. We brought you here yesterday after the Indians found you.
Thanks. How am I?
You are going to be all right. Jefferson shot you, but only in the shoulder. Some Indians were nearby, and he had to run for it. So he just threw you in the pit and left you to bleed to death.
And you saved my life.
Well, it was not I, but the Indians who found you.
Thanks anyway. And, Jefferson got away with the gold?
See?
Senor Colby, can you tell us anything to help us recover it?
Hmm?
The government offers you a big reward if you can.
The government? You told them?
See. I always intended to give it to them anyway. It is only that, like Berean, I am an archaeologist. I had hoped that it might be my name that was remembered as the discoverer of the treasure of the sun. But now, can you help us, senor?
Yes, I think I can. But for a price.
I have told you there will be a reward.
No, more than that. I want you to give Ana Luz her freedom.
But, senor, she is free. She is no longer my servant. She is like my daughter.
Huh? Evidently, she still feels an oppressive debt to you. Isn't that right, Ana Luz?
See, it is.
But
You see, senor? Will you release her?
But of course, senor, she owes me nothing.
Senor, until the treasure is recovered and Senor Naharo's name is placed on it as the discoverer, I can never feel free, even so.
All right, then we'll get the treasure. Help me out of this bed.
Oh, senor, you
Do you
cannot...
think I can stay here knowing how much this means to you, Ana Luz? Come, we must hurry.
See, but where?
Coming up on the train, Jefferson talked about taking the treasure out of Peru by way of Puno and Lake Titicaca, across the lake to Bolivia.
I see, of course. Then we must charter a plane and fly to Puno at once.
We flew up to the lake 12,000 feet high in the Andes with the government commandant. He had a company of soldiers stationed there. Jeff would be able to get in, but our job was to be sure he didn't get out. Soon after we arrived, his soldiers brought in the word. They had found the body of Tasho, shot in the outskirts of town.
Then he is here already.
And he's unloading excess baggage in his own familiar way.
We shall search every house. We shall scour this entire shore of the lake. We'll find him. He will hang for murder.
Commandant, there's no way he can get around the lake by land, is there?
Senor, these are some of the highest mountains in the world. It is impossible. And there is only one ship to the Bolivian shore. It leaves in the morning. We shall search every inch of it. We shall not get away now.
But by morning we weren't so sure. Every house had been searched, the shore had been scoured, and the ship gone over inch by inch. Jeff was nowhere to be found. The Bolivian steamer was whistling impatiently for clearance to set sail. They cared nothing for the search, since there is no love lost between the two countries. Finally, the commandant let them go. He could do nothing else. And as we all stood and watched, it pulled away.
I did what I could. I could not hold them any longer.
I am afraid that we have missed
I know it. I feel it. He has escaped.
Anna Luz, don't cry.
Oh.
Perhaps still there's a chance.
No, he is gone. I will never feel free now.
Wait a minute. What's that? Look, out in the channel. A little native raft. It's making for the steamer, trying to head it off in the channel. That's him! Come on! The commandant and I jumped into the police launch at the pier. It looked like a close race.
If they stop...
They're slowing down for him. What if he gets aboard? Will they let us have him?
No. The Bolivians would only laugh at us.
Then we've got to make it. We've got to. The commandant got everything he could out of the launch. But Jeff had almost reached the ship when we got there. We swung around the steamer and... Halt! Stop! Swing in between him and the boat.
There. Stay where you are, Senor Jefferson. You're under arrest.
And when Jefferson saw me, hate filled his eyes. The hate that's part of the gold fever. And he raised his gun and pointed it at me. It was lucky for me that the commandant was quick on the draw. Might have been me instead of Jefferson who toppled over into the water.
Oh, Senor Colby, how can I ever repay you?
Anna Luz, you don't owe me or anybody anything now. This is no way to start... to start your new life.
Thank you, Senor Colby. You have made me very happy. I hope that we shall meet again.
But, you mean you're leaving? Why?
Well, I must get back to Callao and tell Carlos.
Carlos?
Si, the man I love. The man I may now marry. Adios, senor.
Senor Colby, you are a hero. You shall have a big reward. And the people of Peru will honor you.
Perhaps. But they'll fall in love with guys by the name of Carlos.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Plunder of the Sun by David Dodge, adapted for radio by John Dunkel. Featured in the cast were Paul Frees as Colby, Gerald Moore as Jefferson, and Lucille Meredith as Anna Luz. Also heard were Harry Bartell, Charlie Long, and Tony Barrett. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week...
You are imprisoned in a lonely lighthouse off the steaming jungle coast of French Guiana. Your comrades, a maniac and a coward. Your captors, an army of gigantic, hunger-maddened rats.
Next week, we escape to a nightmare world of terror and violence, as George Toulouse describes it in his hair-raising tale, Three Skeleton Key. Goodbye, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Stay tuned now for Life with Luigi, which follows over most of these CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The American Broadcasting Company Radio Network presents Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy have landed on a strange planet in a remote galaxy. In their spacesuits, they've boarded a stranded spaceship to rescue a fellow space patrol. Buzz carried the wounded pilot into the airlock.
Open the outer hatch, Hap. Yes, sir. What's that sound? Take a look outside. Commander, that stream of liquid. That's or whatever it is. It's rising up more often. And the lighters go dissolve. Hap, we're stranded in a flood of corrosive acid. If you don't get out of here, it'll dissolve the entire ship and us with it.
We'll be back in a moment with a thrilling story, Ambush in Space. Listen, kids, you know how much fun it is to be growing up. Every day there's a new thrill. Well, here's a thrill maybe you haven't tried yet, and believe me, you'll like it. It's the fun of having enough money to get the things you want. Maybe a new bike or a camera, or saving for something big like business school or college in the years to come. Sound good? Well, here's how you do it. Put a part of your allowance and the extra cash you earn each week into school savings. It doesn't take long to have enough to buy a real United States savings bond like Dad gets all the time. And bonds earn money for you. So start to save now. Have the money for the things you want when you want. Now today's Space Patrol adventure, Ambush in Space. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy are in a remote galaxy, searching for members of a Space Patrol expedition that had been sent out to find the source of mysterious spaceophone signals. Buzz and Happy rescued one of the pilots from an attack by the unfriendly forces that guard the galaxy. 3 other pilots still are lost. Through the commander's strategy, the leader of the galactic defenses has agreed to a truce, during which Buzz and Happy will be permitted to find the remaining members of the expedition and return to the United Planets.
Commander Corey aboard Terra 5 calling units of Expedition Enigma. Pilots are ordered to acknowledge immediately if able to do so. Urgent. Commander Corey calling Lieutenant Stitter, Lieutenant Marsden, and Lieutenant Beaker.
What strikes me? Even if there are millions of BUs a world, they should have picked up our hyperspace signal by now. One thing I'm really worried about, Hank.
Those pilots went into star drive. I'll make her have it detected.
Yeah, their calculations would be way off.
They not only would miss our solar system, but our entire galaxy. You've got to keep up the search, Hank. And how long Mako will keep his part of the drive.
I don't trust him either, Commander.
Roughly on 15-degree heading. Taking allowance for aberration.
Hey, listen, it's one of our men.
Repeating, Lieutenant Marsden calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5.
Corey here, Marsden. Can you read me?
Yes, sir.
Are you all right?
I'm okay, Commander, but something's wrong with the ship. I'm grounded on a planet near a creamy star.
Is your ship damaged?
No, sir, it's the power control system. I've been trying to find the trouble so I can blast off.
Happy's getting a directional fix on you now, Marsden. Even if you repair the ship, remain at your present location until I arrive.
Very good, sir.
When did you last hear from any of the others?
Not for about 18 hours, sir. That's why I landed. I figured if all of us kept flying through space during that pre-cosmic storm, we'd never contact each other again.
That wasn't a cosmic storm, Marsden. It's part of the defenses of this galaxy. It's a deflecting field. It curves electromagnetic waves, including light waves and spaceophone signals.
No wonder we lost track of each other.
Now listen, Marsden. This galaxy is controlled by a race of human beings that are highly developed scientifically. They also happen to be extremely suspicious of us because we're from another galaxy.
You've had contact with them, then?
Enough to make Happy and me realize that we're very unpopular. I promised their leader, Maycor, that we'd get out of their galaxy as soon as I located the members of the expedition. Lieutenant Northfield has already returned to Terra.
I see.
I told Maycor the truth, that our expedition came here to find out the source of those spaceophone signals. Well, we found it. So, since we aren't welcome in this galaxy, we'll go home.
I've got a fix on Lieutenant Marsden.
Good, Happy. Marsden, we'll land and see if we can repair your ship. If we can't, you'll come aboard Terra 5. Are you in any immediate danger?
None that I know of. Frankly, I don't like the looks of this planet.
Is it inhabited?
I doubt it. It's got an atmosphere, but it's not fit to breathe. It's almost as hot as our planet Mercury. Frankly, I'll be glad to get off.
We'll be there as soon as we can. Hurry out.
On the key planet of the galaxy's defense system, Maycor, the guardian of the Draxic star system, confers with his chief aide, Sindrana.
I have good news for you, Sindrana. Our communications officers have solved the language pattern of the visitors.
Then Corey is still in the galaxy.
Yes. He plans to rescue a pilot who, for some peculiar reason, chose to land his ship on Kerba 3.
Kerba 3? No one with any intelligence would go anywhere near the Kerba planetary system.
Exactly. In fact, I'm beginning to understand why our alter ray failed to eliminate Corey in our recent encounter. The alter ray was designed to destroy beings of superintelligence. Corey is of a race of beings comparable to ours.
Then we have nothing to fear from him.
Perhaps not from him personally. But remember, he has penetrated our galaxy. Others of his race may follow.
Perhaps we should put on the reflector field again.
No, not yet. It is a costly process. It seems likely now that Corey personally is anxious to find his men and return to his own galaxy.
Might enable the task force to find their way back here.
Yes, although Corey has assured us that his United Planets, as he calls them, have no desire for conquest.
He's a stranger. It is not wise to trust a stranger.
You are right, Sinvana. And that is why I want you to board your spaceship and blast off for Turba 3.
You're sending me alone?
Yes. But this time there is no danger. You will attack Corey only when you are sure he is helpless. Now go on, Sinvana. Proceed to Turba 3.
Following Lieutenant Marsden's space-upon signal, Buzz brings the Terra 5 toward the greenish star that to inhabitants of the galaxy is known as Turba. Although blasts of static obliterate Marsden's signal for long intervals, the space patrollers finally locate the planet where Marsden landed.
It's certainly the most desolate looking planet I've seen. It's volcanic, apparently, and subject to electrical storms.
Hey, Commander, it's got a moon, too. It just popped up over the horizon.
Probably right. The size of it, it's simply close to the planet. It's got a tremendous drive.
Yeah, if there's an ocean on the planet, the tide sure must be something to watch.
I wouldn't want to be there to watch it. Not on the surface at any rate. Let's see if we can break through that electrical storm and contact Marsden. Commander Corey aboard Terra 5 calling Lieutenant Marsden. Marsden, can you read me?
Lieutenant Marsden here, Commander.
We're very weak. We're getting a lot of interference.
Same at this end.
Can you direct us to the ship?
I'm not in the ship, sir. I thought I saw something moving a few hundred yards from the ship. I went out to investigate.
Something moving? You mean alive?
I don't know. I don't see how anything could be alive on this planet. Maybe it was just rolling, blown by the wind or something. I never did catch it. I slipped the spell and hurt my leg.
Can you make it back to the ship?
I'm trying to, sir. Commander, can you see that moon from where you are?
Yes, it must look gigantic from the surface.
Well, it certainly does. Its orbital velocity is terrific. I'll bet it's the moon that's causing those quakes.
Quakes?
Yeah, the ground shakes most of the time. Believe me, I'll be glad to get off this planet.
Captain, we've been able to get any sort of fix from there.
Yes, sir. It's a rough one, but when they get closer, I think we'll be able to see the ship.
This will help any, Commander. The ship's in a sort of wide gully or ravine.
Okay, Marsden, just keep talking. We'll come in on your signal.
Chief Aide Sinvana calling His Excellency Makor, Guardian of the Galaxy. Sinvana calling Makor.
This is Makor?
I'm Mate Omegas from Turba 3, Excellency. Or he's about to land. When he does, I must be ready to attack.
No, wait. It may not be necessary. Turba 3 is not a hospitable planet. Even if the quakes and volcanoes don't destroy the visitors, there are still the corrosive chemicals.
Then you want me to withhold my attack until Corey is about to blast off, if he does?
Yes. The men already on the planet called Marsden. Corey plans to repair Marsden's ship. Every second they are on the planet increases their chances of being destroyed.
You're right, Makor. Turba 3 has its own methods of getting rid of it.
I see Marsden's ship coming. It's just about a mile up the ravine from the lake.
Yes, Hop, you're right. Marsden! Lieutenant Marsden, can you read me?
My leg.
Are you all right? Hold on, Marsden. We're very close. We've sighted the ship. Can you see us? Marsden, answer me. Did you reach the ship? Marsden!
Something's happened, Marsden. I'm going to have to get... It's not like the looks of that lake. It seems to be spilling over into the ravine. Never saw water that color anywhere. But it doesn't look too serious, though. Just a slight trickle.
I know, but with quakes and tidal pull of that moon, there's no telling what will happen. We'll set our ship down on higher ground in Marsden.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. And still be close.
There's a slight hump of rock a few hundred yards away from the cruiser. I'll land there. Get our spaces out of the locker.
After landing the Terra 5, Buzz and Happy make their way toward Marsden's cruiser, their space boots slipping on the hard, rough surface of the planet.
Wow. No wonder Marsden's very quick. Like I just did, and then twisted down. Watch your face. close, Hap. We can go right up the Marsden ship. Okay, Hap, right here. Jump across. That's it, Hap. Here I come. Now, let's get up. Oh, hey, excuse me, sir. I dropped my ray gun. It bounced out of my home. There it is. It fell into the stream. It's floating like a cork on water. Liquid must be heavier than an ordinary vessel. That's a break. If the gun sank, I'd have to plunge my spacesuit glove under the liquid. Oh, don't touch it, Hap. Can't go. Dissolved. My ray gun dissolved. Lucky we didn't slide the weight across it. Whatever it is, it's close to dissolved our space. The stream's right. It's getting deeper. We've got to hurry. Get to the ship. See if Marsden's there. Come on. Up the ladder, Hap. Open the outer hatch. Hey, Commander. You may have made it back to the ship. The inner hatch is open. Inside, quick. Search the ship. Hey, it's a quake. The ship's shaking. Hap, there was. Collapsed in the control tower. I hope he's still alive. Haven't got time to examine him now. Let me get him to our ship just as he is. I'll lift him up my shoulder. Yeah, passed out. Okay, let's go. Yes, sir. Yes, now, Hap. All right. I've got it. I'll hold the hatch open for you, sir. Hey, what's the sound? Take a look outside. Commander, that strange metal or whatever it is, it's rising up all around the ship. Too wide to jump across now. It's ready for Marsden to carry. Commander, look. Liquid syrup in the ship's ladder. The ladder is dissolving. We're stranded in a river of corrosive acid. Acid that even eats mercurium. If we don't get out of here, it'll dissolve the entire ship, and all of us with it.
We'll be back to Space Patrol in just a moment. Boys and girls, here's a little problem. How long does it take to cross a street? 5 seconds? 10 seconds? Well, that may be the right answer. You're careful to cross at the corner and wait for the traffic light. But if you cross in the middle of a block, it may take weeks to get to the other side. Yes, weeks. Weeks spent in the hospital or in bed at home with the broken bones and bruises that come from being in an automobile accident. Don't forget, the motorist doesn't expect to find anyone in the middle of the block. He may not be able to stop in time. That's why it may take weeks from the moment you start across the street until you finally reach the other side. The second you might save isn't worth those weeks you might lose, so be careful. Cross with the light and only at corners. Remember, the life you save may be your own. Now back to today's thrilling Space Patrol adventure, Ambush in Space. Buzz and Happy have landed on the planet Kerba 3 to rescue Lieutenant Marsden, whose Space Patrol cruiser is unable to blast off. The planet is rocky, desolate, and with a poisonous atmosphere. Continuing quakes have caused the nearby lake to spill a strange metallic fluid down into the ravine where the helpless ship is resting. Finding Lieutenant Marsden unconscious inside his ship, Buzz and Happy, clad in spacesuits, are about to step from the airlock when they notice that the liquid metal is rising around the ship and is dissolving the ladder.
Now it's eating away at the upper part of the ship. We can only blast off before the ship is completely melted down. Spent hours trying to fix this, Happy. We've only got a few minutes. Wait. Rocket. Work with Marsden. Anything about the repeller ray. The repeller ray? Right. I'll stay here in the airlock with Marsden. You walk forward and cut on the repeller ray. Right, Commander. Can you hear me, Hap? Yes, sir. Just advance the power slowly until I tell you to stop. Yes, sir. It's on, Commander. But something's stored it out. We're not getting much output. Can you get any more power? I'll try, sir. It's up full, Commander, but the ship isn't moving. I think this will work. Leave it on. Come back here to the airlock. Yes, sir. There you are, Hap. Look outside the hatch. Oh, and look. The acid is swirling away from the ship. The repeller ray is forcing the liquid metal away. Hey, and the ground is dry all around the ship. Jump out, Hap. I'll lower Marsden down for you. Yes, sir. All right, Commander, I'll take you. Easy now. There, I've got him, sir. Come on. high ground. Another quake happened. Hey, Commander, look at Marsden's ship. It's toppling over. Wow, we made it just in time. The whole ship was all like a big lump of sugar in a cup of hot coffee. Liquid spices. We've got to get Marsden before Terra 5 before our ship is dissolved, too.
Several miles above the surface of the planet Turba 3, Sindrana observes the scene below through a viewscope, then reports to the Guardian of the Galaxy.
One of their ships has already been engulfed by the corrosive liquid metal.
What about Corey? Was he in the ship that was destroyed?
I can't tell from this distance. Should I drop lower and investigate?
No, I don't think that will be necessary. Wait until the other ship is involved. Then we'll know our intruder.
Mako! Something's gone wrong.
What do you mean?
The other ship is blasted off.
What?
In my viewscope, I can see Corey's ship moving, rising into space.
Then get away from Turba 3 quickly before he sees you.
Perhaps I could destroy him now. He probably won't be expecting us.
No. I have another idea. I'm changing our strategy. We will cooperate with our visitors.
Cooperate?
Yes.
But they don't trust us.
I know that. But once we gain their confidence and trust, it will be different. For the time being, Savannah, return.
Commander Corey aboard Terra 5, calling units of Expedition Enigma. Commander Corey calling Lieutenant Stitter and Lieutenant Beaker.
Any contact yet, Commander?
No. How's Lieutenant Marsden?
Okay, sir. He wants to come up forward and help us find the other pilots.
Just hope Beaker and Stitter haven't run into any more planets at that time. Commander Corey aboard Terra 5, calling units of Expedition Enigma. Commander Corey calling...
Expedition Enigma, Unit 3 to Commander Corey. Lieutenant Beaker here.
A break at last. Beaker, are you all right?
Yes, sir. Except that I've lost track of all the others. I've had no contact for 20 hours.
Captain Northfield has returned to Terra. Lieutenant Marsden is aboard Terra 5 with me. Now that we've contacted you, only Stitter is missing. How are your instruments? Is your hyperspace vector computer working?
I can't say for sure, sir. I ran into some sort of disturbance shortly after the expedition arrived in this galaxy. Frankly, I'm not sure of anything now.
We'll join ships and I'll come aboard and check your computer against the one in Terra 5. And we'll be sure you can get back to Terra okay.
Yes, sir. I'm changing vector now and heading toward you. Incidentally, a while ago I picked up something in my viewscope. I thought it might be a spaceship, but it disappeared before I could check.
It's probably one of the Galaxy ships, Beaker. They're very suspicious of strangers, so avoid all contact.
Very good, Commander.
Judging by our fix on your spaceophone signal, we're on an approach vector. Turn your ID signal on.
All right, Commander.
Coming in okay, Beaker. Steady as you go. Corey out. All right, have take over the control. I'm going back and talk to Marsden.
Yes, sir.
In the headquarters of the Guardian of the Black Sox Galaxy, Nacor intently watches a gigantic viewscope screen upon which two tiny dots are slowly converging toward the center. With a smile of grim satisfaction, he clicks on a spaceophone transmitter.
Good fortune is with us, Sindrana. Corey has contacted one of the other pilots. The two ships are now approaching Turba and Zankova.
Turba and Zankova? Are any of our ships in?
No, not within 1 million Domegas. Corey and the other pilot are now about 10,000 Domegas apart.
Possibly stop either ship now.
I didn't tell you all I know. Between Corey and the other ship is the magnetic vortex. They're both heading right toward it.
They'll be destroyed. They'll be caught in it before they know anything's wrong. Their ship will be twisted, ripped to pieces by the vortex.
Not quite. Only Corey's ship will be destroyed. Then, using the translator here at headquarters, I will warn the other pilot.
Because he would have saved his life, he will trust us completely. We can capture him and take over his star dive ship.
Exactly. There is nothing to do now but watch the screen and wait until Corey is caught.
We could pick up Lieutenant Beaker on the viewscope, Commander. Then we could tell how far away he is.
With his ID signal, we at least know his direction.
If there are only some planets fairly close to us, we could relay some astrogation coordinates to Beaker.
That meteor might help us. That little thing? It's several hundred times bigger than a spaceship. It's almost in the same heading we are. If Beaker can pick it up in his viewscope, it would be simple to figure how far from it.
Sure. He could see that meteor long before he could see our ship.
We'll figure its velocity and direction and contact Beaker.
Yes, sir. The meteor isn't as good a guide as a planet, but that's better than nothing. That's funny.
What's the trouble?
Well, the meteor, sir, seems to be in a regular vector.
I see what you mean, huh? Behaving as though it were being guided. Suddenly pulled by a huge object in space.
But there isn't any such object.
Still, something's affecting the meteor. Next, it'll be affecting us.
Commander, am I nuts, or did that meteor fly apart?
It certainly did happen. It's completely disintegrated. If we don't change our vector, the same thing will happen to us. The meteor deflected to starboard, half, so we'll veer sharply to port.
Yes, sir. How about Lieutenant Beaker?
I'll warn him now. Men of Corey aboard Terra 5 calling Lieutenant Beaker. Urgent. Corey to Lieutenant Beaker.
Lieutenant Beaker here, sir.
Beaker, we're both heading towards some powerful, invisible force. It just deflected a meteor and exploded it. Cut your velocity and set a course 90 degrees to your present vector.
Yes, sir.
Have you picked this up in your viewscope yet?
No, Commander.
Well, how about a meteor, roughly on our own heading?
I've seen nothing in the viewscope, Commander.
And you're probably farther from this course than we are. Keep your ID signal on. Have and I'll try to work out an astrogation chart on distant stars. When we get one that looks practical, we'll contact you.
I get it. We'll try meeting a few million DUs out in space, away from this force you mentioned.
Right, Beaker. And since we don't know the extent of that force, the farther away, the better. I'll contact you in a few minutes. Corey out. Now, have it. We'll pick a star pattern and lead over data to Beaker. Beaker can detect the same pattern from his starting position. We'll know we've got a good reference.
This is Maycor calling, Commander Corey.
Commander, it's Maycor.
Got his translator working. Corey here. Go ahead, Maycor.
Commander, you are in no danger if you follow my instructions. I'll be glad to help you.
Oh, then you know what happened, or nearly happened to us.
Yes. I heard your conversation with Lieutenant Beaker. You are in the region of what we call the magnetic vortex. For centuries, our own ships have avoided that part of space. If you will follow my directions, I'll help you to join Lieutenant Beaker.
Where are you now?
I'm at my headquarters on a distant planet. I'm observing your ship on an ultra-powerful viewscope screen.
Then you've plotted the boundaries of this magnetic vortex.
Yes, Commander.
Considering the way you feel about strangers in your galaxy, you're being extremely cooperative.
Well, I realize now that you are keeping your part of your bargain, and that your only desire is to return to your own solar system. Now, if you will maneuver your ship as I direct.
Perhaps according to Maycor, if we hold this heading, we'll miss the vortex.
Commander, do you think he's on the level?
I don't know.
Trouble is, there's no way we can find out. If he's deliberately heading us into that vortex, we won't know it until our ship starts to come apart.
Wait a minute. There is a way. If we were to fire a space torpedo directly ahead of us, what would happen?
Well, the torpedo would keep accelerating ahead of us farther and farther.
Right. As long as the torpedo didn't change course, we'd know we were on a safe vector.
And if it did change...
We could have at least a few seconds to act. Hap, align a torpedo to fire on a 0-degree heading.
Yes, sir.
I'll contact Lieutenant Beaker and see if he's had any luck with that astrogation data. Men of Corey aboard Terra 5 calling Lieutenant Beaker.
Beaker here, sir.
Did you locate that constellation from the data?
Yes, sir. All points checked to less than 1 degree parallax. When you were talking to that Maycor, I got a space phone fixed on both of you. That data reconciles the parallax, Commander. I'd say my instruments are okay.
In that case, Lieutenant, you can set your hyperspace vector and return to Terra immediately. I'll continue the search for Stitter.
Very well, Commander.
Good luck, Beaker. Corey out.
Torpedo trajectory all set, Commander.
Very good, Happy. Fire.
Well, there goes our guiding star, our life insurance.
All we've got to do is keep it in the viewscope. As long as it stays on a steady course, we know we're safe.
Hey, when can we be sure that we're completely away from the vortex field?
When we get near a planetary system, or if we see another ship, one from this galaxy. Look at that torpedo. Changing course.
Oh, yeah, I say. It's bearing to port.
We've got to change course quick.
Commander, that torpedo, it acts like it's gone crazy.
Fire starboard rockets. I'll set a course 90 degrees to our previous vector.
The torpedo exploded. Did you see that flash?
Yes, sir. Plunged into the vortex.
That's what we'd have done if you hadn't changed course. Sir, do you think we're safe now? Will we miss that force field?
Guardian Maycor calling, Commander Corey.
Corey here. Are we on the right vector, Maycor?
Commander, this is urgent. My viewscope screen shows that you have changed course. You must follow instructions exactly, or you will meet with disaster. Now, quick, before it's late, return to your previous course.
Nice try, Maycor, but we're on to you.
Why, what do you mean?
You tried to run us right into that vortex. Just cost us a space torpedo to find out that you can't be trusted.
You invader! All right. You avoided the vortex. Now, I'm going after you personally, Corey. I'll get you. When I do, you will regret that you ever entered this galaxy.
I'd be more impressed with your threat, Maycor. If you had a reputation for keeping your word.
Hey, that's telling him, Commander.
Now listen, Maycor. One of my men is still lost in your galaxy.
I intend to find him and take him home. Whenever or wherever you try to stop me, I'll be ready.
A preview of next week's Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. Young men between the ages of 17 and 18 and a half with a military obligation, the National Guard offers many advantages and opportunities. You can earn new skills, earn extra income, and gain experience in leadership. You can learn to become a pilot and qualify for a commission. And there are retirement benefits, too. If you enlist in your local National Guard unit, you may start your training right there at home. There's no need to interrupt your work or school. Inquire about the unlimited opportunities the National Guard offers you by contacting your local armory. Preparedness now is a safeguard against the future. Do your part by enlisting in the National Guard. Now a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are in their spaceship, approaching a planet in a remote solar system.
Commander, where did that thing come from?
A glowing object. It's headed right toward us.
A meteor.
Meteors don't glow in empty space.
It's getting brighter. It's a ball of fire.
There's another one.
Where in the universe are they coming from?
It's a weapon, Hap.
A weapon? And it's some sort of... It's got to be Maker's work.
Right. Trying to make good his threat to destroy it.
Be with us next week for the thrilling Space Patrol story, The Prison Planet. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Bela Kobach, Norm Jolly, and Ken Mayer. Lee Zimmer speaking. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.